what's up, you guys? And we are now at the second quarterfinals at the Intel Extreme Masters World Championship on the League of Legends stage. Up next, we have SK versus AAA, who will advance to the semifinals and face Team Dignitas. We'll just have to wait and see. All right, help me bring the boys up on stage. A big round of applause for SK and AAA.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, the Intel Extreme Masters, and joining me is Jojo Miller.
Finally, Joe Miller, the Miller, or whatever you want to call me these days. I've been getting called a lot of stuff on Reddit. You were supposed to wear your carry-only shirt just so I could be the nice guy. You know, I don't get any kills, I don't get any farm, I'm support-only.
I know, I took a lot of flack for wearing the support-only t-shirt from my friends that I play LoL with. They're like, yeah, support-only, Cassiopeia all the time. So
totally.
I should have put my carry-only t-shirt on. Maybe we'll try and drag it out, but I don't fancy getting naked out in front of all these people.
No one fancies you.
No, nobody wants to see that.
Leave that one on.
So, SK versus Against All Authorities, massive game. Against All Authorities looked unstoppable in day one. They ploughed on through, but unfortunately, the last two games, when they came up against Dignitas and CLG, they just fell apart. And their actual reason, they said, you know, we just weren't used to playing the American teams.
Yeah, and that's going to be a big factor, obviously, in the group stage. They're not used to it. They've had a few tournaments where they've played, albeit with high ping, over in the US. So I guess that got them a little bit used to it, but still, not in these conditions where you're playing on low ping, where you really have the pressure of a big tournament on you that you can see on your camera Against All Authority, getting ready actually for,
with their shirts on.
They
said if we actually qualify, we're going to have our shirts. I believe SOAS forgot to bring them there. Mama were actually laying into SOAS there. That's top lane and mid lane supporting each other there. But yeah, I mean, they just completely. They were very, very good to start with, but when they came up against the Dignitas, like I say, and that's the problem, because if they do get through to this, it will be Dignitas they'll face. SK, however, here we see on the screen, they were phenomenal yesterday. Only game they lost was towards Moscow 5, and actually it was a very one-sided game, which was a bit of a problem for them. They realised that, but it doesn't matter because they're Against All Authority, who they know very well. These two European teams, I saw them coming in as well. They were all shaking hands, and they're all good friends, and it's working out pretty well because these guys know each other on tour. I mean, SK have been on every single stop. Against All Authority has been on a couple of stops. They all know each other online, so they've all sort of become friends. All the players, all the big names, they all know each other very well. We saw it with TSM and Curse yesterday. They were very friendly, but I believe we're going to have the players coming out, so you guys get to give them a big cheer as they come out.
Thank you, D-Man and Joe. All right, now we will bring the boys on stage. So let's give a big round of applause for SK and AAA.
All right, guys, here we are, main stage. SK about to go head-to-head against All Authority. How are you guys feeling right now? You guys, both teams have had a chance to settle in for a few days. Time zones are kicking in. Neither of you actually had to travel that far, but you guys have actually been here for quite a while already, practicing for like 10 days straight.
Yeah, I feel so great, and I just want to play against them and show how good we are.
All right, so how are you guys feeling? The game's coming up in the day. You're known to be one of the stronger teams in the tournament. Everybody wants to kind of see you guys face M5. How are you feeling?
I think we are well prepared for this match, but we didn't play SK Gaming online yet, so it's the first time we meet them as a team, and such an important match for us. But we want to win this, but it will be hard, maybe 2 or 3 hard games for us.
All right, have you been doing your homework? You know what these guys play. Obviously, they have very strong characters. Do you have those certain picks and bans already in mind?
Yeah, we know everything for them. They have been streaming so much. We were checking their profiles when they were scrimming in the booth camp. So we know what they play, we know what they do, and we just need to play our game.
Now, do you guys think you have the against all 30 mind game down? Have you figured out what they're doing? You guys have something to bring to the table?
Yeah, we thought about bans and picks and we prepared for them, but we will see what they ban and react on the situation, so we will see.
All right, guys, head over here to PCs. Let's get this started up. Let's get a good handshake in. We're going to throw it over to our EU casters, Joe Miller for the first time this weekend, and D-Man. Let's hear it for them.
Ooh, yeah, the crowd goes wild. Who are they? But yeah, here we are. SK versus Against All Authorities. It's going to be a big one. It is a best of 3, of course. Don't forget, we are at the Intel Extreme Masters World Championships. $100,000 up for grabs. This is the quarterfinals, and this is for a place in the semi-finals versus Dignitas. And Dignitas looked incredible on their first day, coming straight out, going very strong as well, beating CLG.
Yeah.
The only game they lost was to Fnatic, which probably was the best game of the tournament so far, and really they felt they threw that one pretty hard. You know, there were, I think it was 15 kills up, 8k gold ahead, and then they just lost it. They lost a crazy Baron fight, and it was just all lost. But they're going to put that out of their minds because it is SK versus aAa. aAa on the other hand looked incredible. SK looked incredible. The only game they've lost is Moscow 5, who are the only undefeated team in this tournament.
Yeah, both teams have come into this one looking very good. Of course, SK, they've never quite been there, you know. You've always had Ocelot saying, at the end of a tournament, ultimately, I'm sorry to my fans, but we're going to continue to try. We're going to real practice hard. There's the panda that he actually bought in China. I think he bought lots of candy, or lots of panda kind of stuff. He had a panda beanie hat, and yeah, embracing his nickname for sure. But when you look at the statistics, actually, of these two teams, I mean, I have to say, first of all, thanks to the Reddit League of Legends community, lots of great posts on there over the last couple of days, and especially to Numero Crunch, who, as his nickname probably suggests, crunches the numbers for everyone to find these stats. So, what we've got from the tournament up until today, so not including the first quarterfinal that we've already seen, in terms of AD carries, the top 3, Candy Panda #1, Yellow Star #2. Both going to be featured in this game, both going to be facing off on that bottom lane. In terms of the top lane, the top player was Kevin, of course, of SK Gaming, and Soaz of Against All Authorities. So top lane is going to feature the top 2 players in there. In terms of support, Nif actually came in #2. Actually, no one from Against All Authorities around there. And Dedrian behind there, I Will Dominate and Send Vicious in the jungle ratings as well in that top 3. Ocelot also managed to hit himself in top 3 in the AP carry rating. But we are in the picks and bans.
Yeah, no surprise, Kennen and Shen banned out there. So Shen, really the only time I think is actually SK were in a little bit of trouble was when he was in the game. So Kennen being banned out, that's not surprising. He's been a pretty average ban of late. Janna being banned out by SK, okay, that does surprise me because Janna's been one of the biggest carries of the tournament so far. I say carry, biggest supports of the tournament. You never know. Maybe they could carry with Janna, who knows? But, you know, you mentioned the stats, and I believe Candy Panda's come into this with on a 9 kill death ratio or something like that. It's incredible. So, you know, when he's on a mission, you know, you've got to watch out. And apparently there's like the crazy stat that the only game SK have lost was when Kevin died. All the other games, Kevin did not die in. So 4 matches in that group stage, he didn't die, so they just blitzed it. So we
can just watch top lane and see how Kevin does
if he dies, it's like, oh, well played, aAa.
Yeah, it's GG already. We get the surrender vote as soon as Kevin dies. Udi are going to be the 3rd and final ban here for SK Gaming. Actually featured a lot throughout this tournament, actually. And as per usual, actually, just a beast.
Yeah, and actually I spoke to Dignitas backstage during the CLG Curse game. Obviously they were preparing for their middle contest they had. And they said, actually, it's not so much the Shen, it's more the Adir that's actually winning for them. He's just doing a fantastic job. And obviously, no one's going to know Adir better than Dignitas, because when Jack used to run it, that was his main player. Aurelia being banned out, that is not a shock. Obviously, taking that away from the top lane. So, looks like Shyvana going to be picked straight away. Has been one of the #1 picks throughout this tournament. It's been a very strong, obviously, we're well aware of that from Kiev. Moscow 5 have been running it again in this tournament. People who, like, first game came out, Gangplank Shyvana. It's like, hello, did anyone watch Kiev?
Yeah, did anyone play in Kiev either? That's a real point, actually. And yeah, Moscow 5, just to touch on that, since it's the first time that I've got to sit here for League of Legends, they are looking so good. Once again, they look actually a little bit unstoppable, which could be a worry scary for every team that they could CLG, face. Obviously, CLG next in the semi-final. But for Against All Authority, we have what's looking like their bottom lane already locked in. Leona and Corky.
Leona support, so that's a big one straight away for Against All Authority. I'm trying to think of the last time I watched them use Leona support. Obviously, American teams have been running it a fair few times. Has been done in Europe, but not to a great extent, and certainly I don't recall it for Against All Authorities. I might be wrong. They did have a tournament while I was away this week, which they won 2-0 against Moscow 5, I believe. It was a pretty strong game. But Corky down the what are they running here? They've got Promote, they've got Surge. Yeah, it's okay.
That could possibly change.
With the summoner spells there. But Cogmore, Sona down the bottom lane, so Cogmore, they're immediately going to be protected. Cogmore has been very strong in this tournament. He's been one of those hyper carriers that's just been fed up so strong. I believe it was Cursed Cop that went 14-0-6, I believe, on Cogmore. His positioning was outstanding. Unfortunately, though, they are out the tournament. So really, I mean, Candy Panda down the bottom, I actually just saw him over the other side, and I was like, are we going to see an Ezreal this time? He played Ezreal in the group stages, but he's like, no, probably not. Tristana? It's like, maybe. Didn't want to give too much away. No.
Yeah, but we've seen so many times an effective Cogmore is one that actually the opposition team can't even really see because he's, you know, far away, positioning brilliantly and just hammering them from his max range, which he does have. It looks like Wukong and Mundo are going to be the choice here. So Mundo in the jungle, Wukong up at top. Obviously, we did talk about Soaz and how instrumental actually he's been in the great performance that we've seen from Against All Authority so far.
Yeah, and of course, let's not forget this could be Shyvana on top lane. It might not be a jungler, but as it were, I would say Mundo versus Shyvana, they're pretty quick in the jungle, both of them, so they're going for the speed jungle. Probably going to see a lot of counter-invading on each other, and they're prepared for this. These are two teams that have had to face Moscow 5 on a regular occurrence recently online. They're well aware of the jungle in there. They're just going to be piling in there. And actually, you might have seen it, SK versus Moscow 5. They were placing the counter wards in their own jungle because they were ready for Diamond to come running in there, and actually caught them out twice. Didn't quite work out. CLG EU are the only team at the moment really that I've found have completely countered Moscow 5. Obviously, Against All Authority have done it. Moscow 5 are well aware of that. But if they were to face each other, it would only ever be in the finals, so they're not too upset about that. Galio and Lee Sin. So Galio, we saw Ocelot playing Galio in the last match. It was against, I'm racking my brains, it was Team Solo Mid. They actually let Cassiopeia be available. And bearing in mind, Cassiopeia is available right now, and Ocelot hasn't picked him. He's rather gone with Galio. Galio was very strong. He's been protective of Cogmore in there. Lee Sin as well is going to be very protective. So the question is, I would guess it's going to be Lee Sin in the jungle now. So Shyvana probably will be the top lane, and Karthus being picked up in the middle there. He's going to farm up well, but he's going to have problems against Ocelot and Galio. Ocelot played very well. There's a lot of people online that have said, oh, you know, Ocelot's actually normally pretty bad at Galio, but to be honest, against Team Solo Mid, against Reginald in the middle, he played outstanding. Yeah,
against one of the best AP carriers in the world. So, you know, Ocelot obviously is in form, as I mentioned before, in terms of the stats. He's third in the ranking of AP carriers, behind Big Fat LP and Alex, obviously of Moscow 5. So, you know, Ocelot seems to be in form. He seems happy with his team. I actually spoke to Ocelot before the event kicked off, and he said to me, I'm actually the most confident for this event that I've been with any of the other lineups before any event. And you know, Ocelot's actually always a confident guy.
But the rest of the team are confident.
But that's the thing with Ocelot, you know, he I think has problems to rely on the rest of his team. He's one of those guys who really likes to carry, actually.
And the big thing for SK,
but he feels confident with the rest of his team this time, and that's a big thing.
And and that's what I say. The big thing for me this time is Dedrayan and Kevin have been linking up very well. They're the two newest members. Kevin obviously was in Kiev. Dedrayan, this is his first ever big tournament, and well, what a tournament to be in straight away. But Dedrayan and Kevin linked up so well against Team Solo Mid. The Rayman, I think it was 1-3-0. They completely ganked him up the top there. I think they were both 4-0 and 0-4. They were full and assisting each other. So expect to maybe look at that towards Soaz at the top there. So Soaz is going to be wary of that. But Linek has played very well in the jungle as well. So these teams are really in the peak of their form. Like hell, they're in the quarterfinals of the World Championships. They have to be. If they're not now, this is never going to happen to them. And Team Solo Mid obviously discovered that, because, you know, they were probably one of the favourites for that group, I guess you could say. But unfortunately for them, they suddenly found themselves on the back end of some really informed teams.
Well, for me as well, Group B was one of those that was so mixed in terms of playstyle. You've got Moscow 5, which, you know, no one really knows, apart from Moscow 5, what they're going to bring out. You've got eHome, the Chinese team, which unfortunately didn't really make their mark on the group. They did manage to get the one win right at the end there against Curse. You've got Cypher, who, you know, they had this massive lineup change change before the event, and no one really knew what to expect from them. You've got TSM in there, you've got Curse, who had the drama of their own lineup, having to bring in a last-minute replacement and then doing so well, unfortunately, for them losing out against CLG in the quarterfinal. Exactly, could have done with him today by the looks of things. So here we go then, SK versus Against All Authority quarter-final. Winner will be going through to meet none other than Team Dignitas. So I made that very dramatic entrance, but actually we're going to have a regame.
Yeah, we are going to have a regame. So something went up and they've all left the game, so we are going to be left to talk again. So, I mean, let's look about Against All Authorities versus SK. They've fought quite a few times online. I'd say Against All Authorities, I think, are probably the favourites. I think they've come out on top more often. I would say I would give it to Against All Authorities, you know, being favourites, but like I say, SK have played very well. They're 4-1-0 in the group. The only team they lost to have looked like the ones that are going to reach the finals. I have no idea how Moscow 5 CLG is going to go. CLG are going to have to change their game to Moscow 5.
I think so as well.
Because CLG, throughout this tournament, have pretty much farmed. There's no way about it. Every game I've watched, they have sat and farmed. It's been very passive from them. Moscow 5 are the complete polar opposite. They are in your face. eHom discovered this with a 3-man tower dive at level 2.
Standard stuff. Yeah, but like you say, CLG, I think the right word you could say there is static, actually. You didn't get in the game, right?
No.
And they've already started again.
Awesome. Thanks, guys. I am not in there, yeah.
So we wait for someone else for the last game, regame, and Demon actually didn't get in this time either. We will coordinate this at some point in the near future. I'm sure the admins will get them to regame. They were already picked in there and getting going.
So give me a chance to
well,
refresh
what do you think to some of these players? I mean, you look, you mentioned Dedrian, who actually this is his first major tournament. And this stage is a little bit scary, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Actually, I wouldn't play on there. I'd be too scared. You know, we've got a massive, massive audience here. Look at that. He's just ruined it with a sticker.
I know.
Nice
really?
of you. Nice of you.
We get these nice little clean things.
I'm going to get in there.
I'm going to get in there before they start. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, like you say, Oslo. Actually, I spoke to him on the first day. He came in towards the end of Group A. To give the Drain a little bit of experience to see come in, and he was Oslo was actually a little bit worried. So, you know, I don't know how he's going to react. Nobody knows how they're going to react when you come in and see all these people, this massive stage. You're like, what are you going to do? But he was excited. That was the thing. So, which immediately he was like, wow, okay, now I'm confident because my jungler's excited. My mid lane, you can see, he's actually next to Ocelot, in between the jungler and the top laner. So they're all excited. Very focused faces there as well. And SK, even the very first game against Cypher, they were like, we did a perfect game, 9-0. It was a long game, but they said it was a perfect game. It says everything's good and we're feeling confident. So SK coming into this one, probably the most confident I've ever seen them. I think, like you said, you know, SK, they were a bit unsure. Kiev, in New York, it actually looked really good in New York, but unfortunately for them, they came up against a brick wall, which was Fnatic at the time. And Fnatic at this tournament were looking incredible. They went 2-0, and then they lost every game afterwards. But they were immediately looking good. But it's the most confident I've seen them. However, Against All Authorities are in the same position. They should, in my opinion, have topped the group, but they got stomped by Dignitas, which is going to be a worry for them because it is Dignitas in the semi-finals. So it may play in the back of their minds. It's like, well, even if we beat SK, we've got to come up against Dignitas again. We really struggled with, and it wasn't even close. It was like 24-7. It was a very big defeat there for them. But Against All Authorities, you know what? They're a fairly new team as well. We've got N-Rated as the support that's come into it, obviously replaced OSAF 22 after Kiev. MoMA's also come in and replaced Althor, and they have been solid replacements. They've really gelled well. Soaz has always been a fantastic top. Yellow Star has always been a fantastic bottom lane. Nearly called him Yellow Pete, and CLG would be happy with that. But yeah, and Linak, of course, has been the stable diet in the jungle lately. So they are, you can see on their screens, you can just about make out they're loading in there. So we're going to be going into the game shortly. But Joe, okay, let's put it on the line. Who's going to win it?
I knew this question was coming, actually. From the form that we've seen so far, actually, I'm going to go for SK. I'm really confident in the fact that they've had a boot camp, actually, in Cologne, here in Germany, at the SK offices. They weren't streaming throughout that boot camp. They weren't giving anything away, and I think that gives them a real edge. I think that they could possibly come out with something a little bit special here. And we've seen from them, they've been solid. As you mentioned earlier on in the tournament, they were commenting on the fact that they were running perfect games. And that's the position that you need to be in coming into a match like this to really have the edge.
Yeah, I completely agree, and I think SK could take this one. We're going to go into the game, guys. You're ready for an awesome quarterfinals. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Let's give you a quick roster rundown of the teams. It's been a while since the picks and bans, or Big Ben as our camera crew likes to call it. And
that's a story for between the games, I think.
That is definitely a story for between the games. We'll come back to that one, because we may see our very first level 1 team fight here. Just catching a glimpse, and Ocelot's actually going to catch out Yellowstar and back away straight away from there. So we could see an invade from against our authorities, and rightly so. They have Munda. They have a pretty strong level 1 team. They're going to go pushing forward. Ocelot's going to have to back away from this one. Will we see them go and take that blue away, or will they just step away? The rest of SK aren't actually close by. So let's give you a quick rundown of the teams while they are going to step back. For SK, it is going to be Nif, Candy Panda, Dedrayan, Kevin, and Ocelot. They are going to be on Sona and Ocelot. Where that came from, I don't know. Sona and Cogmore down the bottom lane. Dedrayan will be in the jungle on Lee Sin. Kevin, meanwhile, you can see, will be on Shyvana, and Ocelot will be on Galio in the middle there. Meanwhile, for Against All Authority, it's going to be a Mundo in the jungle, and that's actually something the American teams have been playing a lot, so they've maybe picked that up from them. Soaz will be at the top on Wukong. Meanwhile, Leona and Corky down the bottom. That's going to be an interesting lane straight away. I'm not too sure how that one's going to work out. Leona is one of those supports, can be hit or miss, and in the middle it will be Momo.
On Karthus.
On Karthus, yeah.
What do you think to this middle lane? Obviously, Galio, he is, for an AP carry, naturally tanky. And he can really farm well. How's that going to play out against Momo on Karthus, do you think? Is that a case of Momo's going to need some early level ganks to actually get a big advantage moving in that middle lane?
Yeah, possibly. And Karthus obviously is low hit point hero to start with, so I would look towards Lee Sin possibly trying to get the ganks early on to him. Ocelot will be harassing. He went very aggressive on Reginald as Cassiopeia, and they're a similar sort of hit point hero, so I'd expect to see Lee Sin going for pretty early ganks. And as it is at the moment, I'm just looking down the bottom there. Apologies if you did just see me pulling the map scroll speed down. It was very quick, and I don't like you guys to get seasick as I try and do this. You can see Dedrayan is setting himself up very early on here. And if he's going to try and bait it in towards the bush here, and he's hoping that N-Rated is actually going to go towards it, he's put a ward straight in his face, which means they're going to back straight away from that one. And the Q has missed as well from Dedrayan, so they're going to back off. But Yellowstar was taken pretty low by Candy Panda already there.
Yeah, nicely done, actually, that ward. Possibly saving them, just judging by how low Yellowstar went in that little exchange. Candy Panda obviously kept his focus directly in there. This is a battle between the top 2 AD carries so far in the tournament. Meanwhile, we are seeing the aggressive jungle from Against All Authority. Linak is in there with Mundo. He's going to be trying to steal away this blue buff, and when I say trying, he's going to take that one. He's actually got no one to stop him in there. Will leave one small golem, and that is going to be very, very annoying. That's going to set Lee Sin back, actually, quite a long way at this early level.
It will do, and he's not really in the position to counter it. You can see Clairvoyance has gone down. It's like, their blue's still up. This might be a problem. I think we've just lost our blue, and Dedrayan's going to come around that corner and find just 2 little lizards as he cues towards it and says, oh dear, this is not going to go well. So that means Moma probably is going to pick up the blue early on, which is ideal for Karthus. It's going to give him so much help down the bottom. You can see the poke continuing to come out. Power Core just hitting on towards N-Rated there. So Nif and Candy Pan are really trying to lay on the pressure down the bottom there. Meanwhile, at the top, you can see Kevin has been pushed heavily to his tower, and Soaz is going to go back and buy. So his first trip back, he's going to pick up a Doran's Blade there to go, and a ward just to cover off, and 4 health pots. Very tanky straight away, and Momo will pick up the blue, so that is immediately going to put SK on the back foot.
And that's what they were looking for. We mentioned this early game, Momo probably going to need a fair bit of help in and amongst this middle lane. And, well, he's managed to get that blue buff early on, which gives him that spam ability, gives him that extra sustainability against Ocelot. And if we look at the early CS, actually, from that middle lane, we can see 29 to 29. So very, very even. You could possibly expect Moma to edge slightly ahead with that one. Meanwhile, up on top lane, we've actually got a bit of damage coming in onto Kevin. Obviously, Shyvana versus Wukong. Wukong has, as Demon mentioned, been back. The Doran's Blade already up there. So he's going to be doing that little bit of extra damage as well, should he decide to get aggressive and possibly get a gank soon from Mundo, because he's on the top side of their jungle.
Yeah, down the bottom we're seeing a CS advantage already for Corki. He's around about 10 CS ahead. What I mean by CS is creep score, so it's all about getting the last hits on these creeps in front of you. And for anyone, obviously, irregular viewers have been going, well, that's pretty obvious, but we are here in a big trade show. There is a massive crowd of people that maybe wouldn't even seen League of Legends before, so they're probably unaware of exactly how it works. It's simply 3 lanes, and the minions are auto-pushing up there. I'm just keeping my eye on here at the top here, because you can see Lenak is lingering. Meanwhile, also, Lee Sin's going to come in. This could work out in their favour, though. Kevin is ready for this one. He's going to try and dive it towards Soaz. I'm not too sure they have the damage. They're going to go towards Linak. Linak has got the ignites on him. Dedrain, meanwhile, is going to go back and forth. He will pick up the first blood. The ulti coming out from Carthus. Dedrain's going to back away from this one. Will Soaz have enough to finish him off? He's going to try and get the last hit. He will. And that is a traded blow there. And, well, very nicely done. A 2-1 exchange. And Against All Authorities coming out very well. And that is just going to feed Soaz so badly. A 2-0 to Soaz on Wukong is going to be a horrible, horrible thing for Shyvana to face.
Yeah, the monkey getting fed early on, and we talked about this little stat, which obviously isn't the end of the world, but the only game that SK have lost so far is the only game that Kevin's actually died. And Moma is going to be stealing away those wraiths as well. Actually,
Candy Panda's just about hanging on down the bottom there. The ignites run around out. Ocelot was also taken down very low. So while that happened, it was like a full-on lane push on every single lane. They nearly picked up a full-on ace this early on, which would have been pretty crazy. So Kevin is, well, he's up against it at the top here. I mean, 38 CS to 44. And now you can see triple Doran's Blade on Wukong already, only 6 minutes into this game. That is not good. Then those wraiths have been taken away by Linak. They started to be taken away by Momo. Now Linak's just finished the job. And you know what? I think we might even see some crazy early Dragon play from Against All Authority here. Chopper coming straight through, catching to Drain. Bottom lane continuing being pushed as well. Corki is 49 CS to 37, so they're keeping that 10 CS advantage down the bottom lane.
Yeah, 10 CS advantage, and yeah, up top we are going to see. I mean, Soaz, why not? He's now been, he's got those first 2 kills, including the first blood in there. Going to continue to, you know, try his luck with this and really force Kevin to have a hard time. There's lots of pings going down around that middle area as well. Ocelot just being spotted. That ward is down from Against All Authority, but he has one also in that brush. In terms of the CS now, up at the top, 43 to 48, so it remains that little bit more close, but Soaz is going to be a constant harass now.
Yeah. And the big important thing is Soaz is actually keeping him completely away from the CS. You can see Kevin can't get near it. Every time he comes near, Soaz is in his face and he's immediately diving on him again. Pops his ulti this time. He is a level ahead, and you can see Kevin's going to have to go away from this one. Had to use his ulti. Just about got it in time to pop away from that one. Soaz completely zoning him out there, and this is really going in favour of Against All Authorities. They have probably the best start they could hope for. You can see Corki down the bottom has that triple Doran's Blade now. Return into lane. Double Doran's, meanwhile, for Candy Panda. So falling behind in every lane is not a very good start.
Yeah, real good stuff so far to this point from Against All Authority. We do have Candy Panda up at level 6 now. Yellow Star shouldn't be too far behind. I think one more bit of experience here in this bottom lane, and he's shielding up to level 6. Yep, there we go. So ulti ready on Corki as well. Those bombs going to assist him a little bit more. Meanwhile, in middle lane, in terms of CS, 64 to 85, and you know that's one thing. The actual early damage that was put onto Ocelot to force him to go home, plus combined with the fact that Moma got the blue buff early on, he's taken wraiths I think 2 or 3 times away from his opponent's jungle actually as well. That's giving Moma a real nice advantage in this middle area.
It has, and you can see actually that maybe setting up for a dragon here. Linak has pulled it out, but I don't think he's going to go for it just yet. He's going to back away because they realise blue buff will be up shortly, and they're actually wondering whether they're going to go across and maybe try and harass them for it. Ocelot actually went across there with the Drayan, and they were like, they didn't know the timings on when the blue was there, so they went to look for it and it wasn't available, and now they're actually looking at maybe countering and trying to steal one of their own. They can catch Moma coming across. Oh, the Q completely missing Moma there. The Drayan, wow, maybe we're seeing a little sign of nerves there because he was way off with that, and Moma was just walking straight towards him.
Yeah, it was a mile off, and Moma, you know, didn't even know he was there. We are going to see that blue buff going over again, And you know, Blue Buff is now up over on the other side as well. We'll see if Against All Authority go anywhere over there. Actually, a ward down just outside Dragon. That's going to be a waste of cash because there's a pink ward down from Against All Authority. The ward will be cleared out. Blue Buff, as I said, is up. We'll see if that goes over onto Ocelot, who does have the Chalice built up at this point of the game. Meanwhile, down at bottom, Against All Authority have pushed, and it's going to allow Mundo to get in at the back side of this brush. They need to wait a little bit. Actually, they're going to start diving in there and absolutely exploded his Nif. That was a real quick one. Actually, Linak didn't even need to get involved there.
No, that was just incredible. He just popped there and then, and that's going to give them the Dragon. Surely Dedrain's going to come around and maybe try and contest it, but I'm not too sure if it's really contestable at all. He's going to maybe try and come in. He's got to place himself a ward or something to back away from. He's going to use Candy Panda instead as a back away. You can see he's trying to get that Q in to zip in, maybe get the smite on him, and then back out. Ocelot is in there as well. Are they going to be able to get in the steal? I don't think they did, though. Now they're going to get caught out. Dedrain's going to have to use his ulti kick on N-rated to back away from that one. And wow, this is looking very much in Moma's favour. Moma's favour Against All Authorities' favour. Oh, I'm just keeping my eye on Wukong coming around the side. He's going to go straight towards Soaz. He's actually going to use his mirror there to try and get around. He wanted to jump onto Dedrain, and Ocelot was a little bit concerned about Wukong here because this is a very fed Wukong. You can see he's picked up that longsword as well. Maybe going too aggressive, but he's going to try and finish off Ocelot. Ocelot's had to use his flash. Would you believe in a 4-on-1? He's forced him to use the flash to Kalthus. He's going to come out. Oh, completely juked up there with that flash, and Ocelot will survive. And wow, Soaz is just so strong right now. They may give up that top tower. Yes, they will. Kevin will be able to pick that top tower up. So that's going to be a little bit of a saving grace for SK. That will try and keep the gold in check a little bit. But Kevin is going to have to really work hard here to try and keep up with Soaz.
That was such great play, actually, from Soaz. Moving in there, use his mirror to get right in there in the pack. Did a load of damage to Ocelot. Actually used his ulti as well to get himself a little bit further away. Knock all the SK players up in the air, then flashed out of it. Unfortunately for them, it was just a little bit too many HP left on Ocelot, so the Kalthus ulti couldn't quite finish things off. Actually, we will see Clairvoyance has been used. Actually, that was by Nif to take a peek over towards their own blue buff. Will we see Mundo head down there once again? We saw him steal the first one very early on in the game. It looks like this time Ocelot will have a blue buff to play with. Moma's blue buff has actually run out since the last time they picked it up. Meanwhile, down at bottom, you can see the Yellow Star N-rated pushing this lane nicely. And the thing is, they've got a lot more damage in that bottom lane than SK, and that's something that Candy Panda and, well, maybe even Nif in particular, we saw how fast he was popped for that kill earlier on. They have to be very careful. And here we go, we are going to see them dive straight in there, as if by magic, and Candy Panda goes very low. Dedrain is in there. N-rated could be the one getting caught out, and he's surely going to be taken out by Dedrain. He will be. Yellow Star not able to get anything, and, well, he uses a Valkyrie to get away, but at least in sticking to him, Yellow Star will get back to the comfort of his tower. And Ocelot, I'll tell you what, coming straight in, they're going to try and dive in possibly here for Yellow Star, who that's not going to work out perfectly. Ocelot will decide to ulti. Linak going fairly low as well. And they need to be real careful because these minions are coming in as well. If they decide to push, no, well, they're not going to decide to push. Dedrain is still fairly high HP, which surprises me that they didn't continue to push there.
Yeah, they could have, and I think also you kind of used his ulti a little bit too early. They're going to lose out on the tower up top there. Soaz is going to lay down a chunk of damage. I think they were just so scared of Moma's ulti right now. Moma has been back, and look at that. I just looked at him a minute ago. He just got the catalyst now straight towards Rod of the Protectors. So immediately, Roddy the Aegis, sorry, Rod of the Protectors. I don't know where they pulled that one from. Linak is getting caught again there, but you can see N-rated is back. But just check out that damage. How quick was Cogmore going down there? Once he got caught out, he was nearly popped instantly. That is going to be a very scary thing for them, and Candy Panda's got to be so cautious of that. You can already see N-rated's just hovering around, waiting for his AD carry to come back. Corki is coming back down the lane, so now with a Sheen as well, is going to be popping that damage out. Candy Panda's going to port back. What's he going to go and buy? It's going to be a Madras Razor actually going for, so possibly building up to a Blood Razor. No, Wriggles he'll be. So he's just going to be pushing on towards that bottom lane. I think they're going to lose this bottom tower before they return to this lane. Corki will continue to hammer away. They're going to probably back away one last time, and there is the tower. So that is going to be all square in towers. But of course, it is clearly against their authorities in the driving seat at the moment.
Yeah, 3-2 in kills in favor of Against All Authority. The two that have come over for SK have both gone into Lee Sin. Dedrian, you definitely can't fault him for that one, but you know, Shyvana already gone down. Not such a big deal, but Galio Ocelot obviously has yet to really be involved there. No assists, no kills, albeit no deaths as well. Only one assist from MoMA. Let's see what they go for here. Actually, we could see a bit of action down at the bottom. They are going to dive in onto Candy Panda again. Nif has to use that ulti to get away. Valkyrie used, and it's going to be enough to finish off Nif. The ulti came in from Karthus as well, and it was the Karthus ulti that got the kill. Candy Panda needs to be a little bit careful. Actually, he's got Kevin and Dedrian just to the top there. They were doing the golems, but again, Against All Authority showing how, you know, Leona, not quite the classic support, but certainly can get those kills very quickly.
He can do, and it's like the Alistair style, you know, once he's gone, you're just going to bounce, you do a lot of damage, and in cohesion with MoMA on his ulti as well, it's just popping them very quickly, and he's going to be happy to be fed up there, because obviously a very fed Karthus is a dangerous thing, and just look at the CS difference. You can see 173 CS to 140 for Galio, well, 139 if I want to be precise, but he's already pulling quite an advantage. 1-0-1 as well. Galio has not been able to pick anything up, and Against All Authority is just completely driving forward. Obviously Soaz now up to that brutalizer that he was building towards earlier on. He's looking very strong in comparison. 129 CS to 117, so he's got a 10 CS advantage. Shyvana actually trying his best to pull back into this one, but they are lacking a little bit of crowd control here. They have got the Galio ulti, and they need to be in position to plant and get a lot of that damage down from Candy Panda, but he's just being caught out by Leona every time. There you go, walking straight into a cleaver in the face. They are buying them time to continue pushing on the tower here, but I gotta be careful that Candy Panda, if he gets caught, he will be dead instantly.
Yeah, needs to be really careful. Actually, we can see that kind of moving as a group up there. Kevin just running through a wall of pain. Won't be too much of a hindrance with him when he's got burnt out, though. Can literally just waltz away from that one. And SK are forced away from that middle turret after taking it down to around about 2/3 of its HP. Dragon is available. Obviously, one Dragon has already gone over to Against All Authority, and they are surely going to be trying to pull this one out. Yellowstar is the man right at the front, just trying to get that poke damage out into SK as they come in there. There is a ward in that brush as well, as Enrated did get himself in. They are going to dive in. Ocelot already going down to around about half HP. Against All Authority, though, losing Enrated in the middle of it. Looks like Soaz will die as well. They still have Cogmore running in there as well. And Kevin versus Yellowstar. I'm not sure that Kevin's going to escape from this one. He won't. It's Yellowstar that gets the kill, but look at MoMA. He's got an Ignite on him, and he will be finished off by Nif, of all people. Here comes the ulti. Is he going to get the kill? No, not quite.
Press the Q, yes!
Yeah.
Oh, straight in towards the tower. Yeah. It's like you've landed it, press it, follow it up. Wow, pretty crazy stuff. So 7-7, a pretty strange engage there. Unfortunately for SK, Nif actually picked up a couple of kill there, along with a bunch of assists. So, but you know, you can see Lee Sin 4-2-2. Wasn't really the right people they wanted to get the kills, though. Conway, you can see, didn't pick anything up there. Did get 4 assists, though. But that was a pretty crazy exchange, and you can see the power that Shyvana has when that ulti is used in the right place at the right time. We managed to get across those weaker hit point heroes and immediately cause problems. And again, we mentioned it before, they were split up. MoMA was stuck out here while the rest of the team were all down here, and yet they managed to get the wall of pain out, but he just got immediately split away from his team. We've seen it so many times in these matches. It looks great when you do this fancy pincer move, but it just doesn't always work, especially in the early levels when you're a squishy hero. So it kind of backfired on them. And then remember, nobody's picked up that dragon yet. You can see Linek is going to pull it out, but I think SK are going to surely be ready. So I think we're going to see them going straight back in again. They are going to be able to get the damage down. Cogmore down the bottom, though, so Cogmore's going to be split away from this one. Candy Panda needs to get involved. You can see the ping going down. Ocelot didn't... oh, he's going to get caught on, actually. Nif is the one, the target. Nif taking out very low. That's immediately going to give Against All Authority a big advantage. Diving on towards the drain. He does not have his ulti available. Beautiful catch by Leona there, but he's actually got away with it somehow. I've no idea how they managed to disappear from that one. Ocelot, though, did go down, as well as Nif, and now finally Cogmore actually catching down Corky down there. Being caught out, and that's Against All Authorities. How SK were not set up for that one, I don't know. Surely they realised the fight was going to be straight back in their faces.
Yeah, it was a kind of obvious move there, and I'm not sure how it all went like that. To be honest, Against All Authority kind of split their focus in there at the end as well. Dedrian just escaping with very, very little HP. Actually did manage to survive in the end, went up into the top side of Against All Authorities jungle and did portal home. But if we look down the kills, Wukong extending himself now to 5-1-1. Corki 3-1-2 against the 0-2-4 of Cogmore. And you know, he's got Phage, he's got Sheen, triple Doran's Blade, Berserker's Greaves are finished. Wriggle's Lantern was built up first by Cogmore, as Demon mentioned earlier. Double Doran's Blade, Dagger, plus the Berserker Greaves and the Crit Gloves as well. So, you know, it's not looking good on pretty much all fronts, actually, for SK Gaming here.
Yeah, they're going to have to turtle it up a little here. They are only 10-7, though. It is only a one team fight, but that one Dragon team fight can be so important. It was very even in the first one. Linak having the cheek to actually start off on Baron now. I think he was just simply taking a peek, but I think it was going to be very adventurous for SK to actually go remotely near that. We are 20 minutes in. We did see a pretty early one from CLG earlier on, and I think it was a two-man Baron there. But look at Soaz. He's so confident at the moment against Kevin. He's just feeling he can do anything. He's double buffed up. He's just really laying down the smack on this top lane. And it's just, there's not a lot that Kevin can do, but Kevin has been useful in a team fight when positioned well.
Yeah.
And he needs Galio to plant in the right place for Kevin to get across. It's just not working out, though. Once they get that team fight, they just need to get the positioning sorted out. Ocelot placing the ward down to keep a check on Baron. Yellow Star now with a brilliant spot as well running, has completed that Trinity Force, so he's going to be very strong as well. You can see a Warmogs now on Mundo as well, so Mundo literally is going to go where he pleases. And Ocelot, well, he's struggling here. He's got that Abyssal Scepter complete, but you know, with the chalice, he's in a horrible place compared to Karthus, who's 2-1-5, has got that Rabadon's Death Cap, and Rod of Ages already complete.
Yeah, bit of a scary situation for SK, but it's still, you know, definitely not a done deal. It can turn itself around, but SK need a good, solid team fight. Coming into the next one, we can see the poke from Yellow Star actually taking this middle turret down to less than half HP. Down at bottom, Momo was just having himself a little bit of farm. Candy Panda needs to be careful here. Okay, there are wards down in that brush. And Moma is going to be taking away the golems from that bottom side. SK, by the time they react and start moving down, actually Against All Authority are around this red buff. We are going to see Soaz dive in there. Damage coming from Kevin and Dedrain. But I'm not sure that SK should fancy their chances. Actually, Cogmore is in behind, but Valkyrie used by Yellow Star to get away, and Against All Authority will take the route via that tri-bush and move back to safety. Clairvoyance was used by Nif as well, just to make sure that, you know, everything's kosher, that they weren't setting up some kind of trap inside of that tri-bush anyway.
And it is a trap. They've gone on towards Candy Panda down the bottom, managed to pop the ulti, the ignite as well, and Soaz is going to happily take this one, and that will be the Karthus ult finishing it off. Very well executed there. The rest of the team are backed away, and Candy Panda just got caught completely napping up the lane. While this was all happening, Linux happily tanking away on that top turret. He will take it down, taking a big chunk of damage. An ulti from Ocelot. Oh, very nice to exhaust there. That will prevent all the damage coming from that ulti, but I think he might be able to finish him off. He's trying to finish it, but you can see Linux with that ulti run. He's going to get all that life regen, and yeah, he just walks away from it like a boss. You wouldn't believe he's just got any trouble at all. Mama also taking down that middle turret. Dedrayan's got to be careful. He's going to get caught out by N-rated. They needed to take the turret down though, because Mama's tanking up. Suddenly N-rated. No, you've just kicked him out of turret range. I do not believe it. Dedrayan using the ulti, hoping he had the damage, but wow. Against All Authorities, continue, pick up another tower and walk away.
Yeah, Mama currently double buff as well. And he comes back in, actually.
Dedrayan's going down in the middle.
Yeah, Dedrayan will get cornered by Soaz, and they've given so much to Wukong. He's actually got that Frozen Mali already finished, and that's just bad news all around. It's 12-7 in the overall score. Now seen brilliance. Fortitude pots being picked up here as well by Mundo and by Corki. So I could expect that they are going to be setting up possibly for a Baron sometime in the near future. Do we have an Oracle anywhere in the team? Nope, not just yet. They're going to need that to clear out. There are wards from SK around that Baron area. And they're around about 10k ahead in gold now against All Authority. Dragon should be up fairly soonish as well. And SK are in that horrible position where you've not got much of a choice other than to defend.
Absolutely, they're having to passive farm it up here and hope they can catch out a clean Baron fight. That's really SK's big chance at the moment. They have to try and catch out in the right position at the right time. A good crescendo, a good Galio ulti planted down, and they need Kevin to get across. There's a lot of AE effect, area effect abilities they have, but they've just not been able to use them in the right time because they just keep getting caught out. Candy Panda's been caught out a couple of times now by the Leona or Wukong or diving in on him. Meanwhile, Corky's been ripping him apart. You can see 0-3-4. He's just not been protected. Oh, actually, that's a bit harsh. I can't see he's not been protected. He's just been caught in the wrong place at the wrong time. Yellow Star's been doing a fantastic job, continue driving forward, farming away. You can see is that 180 CS to Candy Panda's 154, which is an unusual thing. Candy Panda is normally ahead of most people on it, but Yellow Star has been doing a fantastic job all tournament down that bottom lane. Meanwhile, Leona, you know, sometimes always a questionable support. You never know whether you can get the sustain with him, but N-Rated has played a fantastic Leona so far this game. But Soaz at 6-1-2 is so strong, and it's looking like they're maybe going to set up for an invade here. They're going to go for the blue buff, and possibly, if they can force a team fight, probably go for Baron Joe.
Yeah, certainly. We do have now the Oracle on Mundo. On Linac, they're going to clear that one, which was actually the last bit of vision that they had anywhere near that Baron area. So SK have to stick around at least for a while here to figure things out. Wall of Pain does go down. Blue buff is taken away. Actually went to Soaz in the end. And that's going to be one step closer to a possible victory for Against All Authority. As I mentioned, there is no vision. They've got that Clairvoyance. Ward will be dropped in finally, so that SK should know if Against All Authority start to work over towards that Baron area. Actually, we've got Momo doing Dragon on his own at this point, down in the bottom area. And I don't think there's anyone from Against All Authority that will even be anywhere near him to stop that happening. No, and Dragon will go there, increasing the gold lead to over 10k now. 42-31, and a lot of pings going down, which means blue buff is going to be taken by Momo as well. And now Against All Authority, the way they're playing it, they've bought those pots there, basically taking everything from the jungle that they can. They're gearing up here. They are gearing up. They're just completely driving home their dominance. And they're just saying, you know what, we can. All they're doing at the moment, you can see they're just pushing every lane. So they're Momo's clearing that bottom lane, pushing it, getting the defile. He's going to go back and bite. Probably sitting on a chunk of gold. You can see 2,200 gold on Wukong, 1,000 on Garthus, 1,500 on Corky. They are all just farming it up, and they're going to be happily buying. Immediately, you can see building towards a Zonya's Hourglass already. So that's going to be a very scary Garthus now. Right now, 492 ability power, and he's just going to eat someone alive as soon as he pops out Brilliance Potion as well. If you can add the Baron on top, as soon as they get near the Baron fight, you can see they're all ready and waiting. They're all starting to buy the potions, so he's just going to pop them all and go, right, let's have a fight. Let's bring it on. Ocelot, he is struggling. He's trying his best to keep in there. He's got 200 AP as well. He's looking pretty strong, but yeah, the ping goes down. You can see Against All Authorities, they are going to pull out the Baron, or pull it out, start the Baron, but they're just trying to see what the reactions of SK are at the moment. They have the ward placement to see if anyone moves towards them. SK tried not to flinch there. They kind of showed the hand, though. They're so like, yeah, we know you have wards in and around this area, so they are going to start on the Baron. The Baron down to half already. SK are going to have to be quick to get to this one because it's going down very quickly. Baron already picked up, and now SK completely caught in no man's land. You can see the crescendo going across just about the right time. Ocelot waiting for that ulti to run out. He's going to try and plant it, but SK is just getting ripped apart all across Candy Panda, where he's in no man's land, and now he's just getting beaten up in the backside by Linac there. And that was a very one-sided fight. Ugly is what it was, and there was just no way they could do anything. As soon as Ocelot came on, they just planted the exhaust on him and said, go on and plant your ulti. We'll quite happily sit through this one. Yeah, and the thing about that as well, Momo didn't even have time to get his ulti off before it, or in the midst of it. He actually popped it when 4 guys were already dead. Nif got away from that one, and Against All Authority should be able to push now, take down this turret, plus the inhibitor. And, well, what have we got? Yeah, 7 seconds to go. Will they be able to push any further than that? I'm not sure that they'll want to. They've got actually, they've not got minions anywhere, but I'm guessing they're just going to tank this one. They've got Mundo, they've got Wukong in there, and they can just tank this bottom turret straight down. Will they want to be taking a fight now? I'm not that sure, to be honest. Ultis are up on the other side. Ocelot's actually isn't up at this point, so that's something that'll be a little bit careful about. Crescendo's not there as well, so as actually taking damage, and surely we'll get away from this one. Oh, Cube just timing out there before it actually connected, so as that's great use. And actually will dive straight in onto Candy Panda. Ulti goes across them. Candy surely will die. Dead Dragon going very low as well. And it's Momo who will take down the Lee Sin. Candy Panda trying to escape this one. Needs a cleaver over from Mundo. Didn't quite work out as intended. But again, that's 1 for 1. Dead Dragon goes down. Soaz goes down. But Soaz at 6-2-7 won't be too worried about that. He's actually gone in. Oh, here we go. Carthus ulti. Not getting anything. What was my point? Wukong, yeah, he's got a Last Whisper built up now to add to his Frozen Mallet, plus that Brutalizer, and he's just ridiculously scary at this point.
Yeah, and 2,000 gold now for Mummy. He's just going to clear this wave, go back and complete that Zhonya's Hourglass. Really is looking very strong, and against all authorities, they have this game in full control. So the question is for SK, what are they going to do? Chances are they are going to lose this game. They need to reset themselves, reset their confidence, because really it was all about that very early gank up the top there. You know, a double kill for Wukong. It's just, they've not looked back since then. Wukong's just got stronger and stronger. 6-2-7. He's been in the right place at the right time. Candy Panda's just been caught out too many times for my liking. There you go. You can see the Zhonya's Hourglass and a Blasting One being completed. Oh wow, he's got Amplifying Tome as well, so Void Staff possibly coming out shortly for him. They are looking so strong. So what is that going to make Momo? Momo's going to be increased 708 AP. Wow, that is going to be a very painful ulti. And Dedrayan, oh, I tell you what, I think Soaz fancies this one. He's trying to position himself so he can get in there. Has got that Frozen Mallet. It's going to follow in the wave of minions. Dedrayan's already going to back away from that one. Let's have a look towards SK. Will they get caught out? They still need to be very careful. SK still, against all authorities, still have that Baron buff. There's around about a minute left on it. As they are stealing away the blue buff. They're going to try and catch out Oslo to chip him down as well. But he's going to have to back away from that one. Wukong is pushing this bottom lane. Remember, it is an open inhibitor. Candy Panda alone, I would not fancy that. You've got to be very careful. Soaz is so strong. He's going to have to back away. But yeah, against all authorities, all they're doing right now is pushing every single lane down in towards the towers, and then they're just going to drive it home and take the win.
Yeah, once his top lane, they have the minions moving down. These towers will be the next target actually pinged in there from against all authority, and they can clear these minion waves out pretty much instantly with Carthus, who did take a bit of aggro from the turret. But that is going to go down. You can see SK positioning themselves a little bit wary by the steps up. And Linek just going to use the poke of that cleaver to constantly annoy Momo. Does take a bit of damage. Are they going to dive in there? Actually, Ocelot's going to go in for it. There he gets the ulti on Momo, on N-Rated, and on Linak, and this doesn't look like such a bad fight. Ulti will go down, though, and that's going to change everything with that 700-something AP. He got 2 kills in amongst it. Candy Panda's gone. No Mana has to go out there. Nif will return as well. And look at this. Wukong coming in for the kills right there. Just a little bit too slow. Was Soaz getting slowed and taking lots of damage as well in there, but they've got super minions. They've got the Corki, they've got Wukong, plus Mondo hammering away on these turrets, and this is going to surely be good games as they start to work on this Nexus. They can pretty much just focus it. Suaz is going to stick in the ulti at the end, but that is 1-0 for Against All Authority. Great, solid play.
It was a solid victory, and really, you know, that's the difference between the top teams. You know, when they get advantages, they will just continue to drive it home at them. And we saw it obviously straight away. They took that blue buff away, and immediately also what was on the back foot. He had no blue buff. They managed to get it onto the jungler and onto Carter. So suddenly they're looking very strong. They got the double kill at the top. It just went very wrong for them from very early stage. So SK, you know, they're up against it. They lost pretty much all of their lanes in that one, all 3 lanes. So it's not like they had a little thing to think about. I think the picks and bans, they're just going to feel that, you know what, okay, that didn't work. They're going to have to fall back on plan B. What that plan B is, I'm not too sure, because it was looking horrible at one point.
Well, you know, we pointed out at the start of the game, you've got in there in the middle, you've got Galio with Ocelot. They're going to surely try and get in early on Momo while he's super low HP. And, you know, just keep ganking. That didn't work out for them whatsoever. In fact, I don't remember seeing a gank onto Momo. No. In the middle, like, ever. Up at top, obviously, Soaz just dominated that lane. Double kill at the start, something that you can expect. Shyvana, though, in that, I say, mid-game time, Shyvana, it seemed like it was possible for her, because, you know, when there was that fight around Dragon, the position was great for a Shyvana ulti right across, and they did well. It was actually 4 kills apiece, I think, at that one point. But then we saw Against All Authority go straight back into the Dragon, take it. SK was split up all over the place. They lost 2 or 3 guys, I think it was, in that, and that was, I think, right about that.
And they didn't seem to be prepared when that Dragon fight. You know, they were at 7-7, and the aAa went straight back to the Dragon. Meanwhile, SK were just like, oh, we're going to farm the lane here, farm the lane here. They're just like, hello? You didn't get the Dragon. They're going to go straight back for it. What are you doing? And they just didn't seem ready for it. So I don't know. I mean, they're going to obviously have to have words for themselves, try and sort it out, because The SK that we saw yesterday against Team Solo Mid was a
Different team.
non-stop machine. Yeah, they had timings down and everything. They were not missing a thing. And because they lost out on that blue, you saw them. You saw Ocelot and the Drain going across, and they were like stood around going, well, we're not really sure when we lost the blue. At some point it was around there, but you know, it's just against all authorities they look very good. So 1-0 up already. We're going to be going to a quick break, I believe, and we'll be back in a short moment.
Intel Extreme Masters.
Hey, what's up, you guys? I am here in the audience at the Intel Extreme Masters World Championship in Hanover, Germany. Are you guys having fun here at the World Championship? Yeah! All right, that's what I like to hear. Now, I have some lovely volunteers. We're going to do a little contest to win a prize. Are you guys up for that? Yeah? Okay, cool. All right, so my challenge for you guys is who can scream Demacia the loudest? And I have a little gauge right here. It'll gauge how loud your scream is, okay? So are you guys up for the challenge?
Yes.
Yeah? Yeah? Okay. All right, let's start with you first. What is your name?
My name is Falk.
Okay, now I want you to scream Demacia as loud as you can into this gauge, okay? All right, ready?
Demacia!
Not bad. So it's 127.8 decibels. All right. Now, what is your name?
My name is Kevin.
Now, are you ready?
Ja, voila!
127.9 decibels. All right. Okay. What is your name?
My name is Patrick.
Okay. And your turn.
Demacia!
127.4 decibels. Okay. Now, what about you? What is your name?
My name is Philip.
Okay, Philip. Now, your turn to scream Demacia as loud as you can. 1, 2, 3.
Demacia!
Not bad, right, audience? What do y'all think? What do y'all think so far? All right, so we got our last contestant. What is your name?
Dominic.
Dominic, okay. 1, 2, 3.
Demacia!
You're my favorite so far, and that's 125.8 decibels. So the winner is you, my friend. A big round of applause for our volunteers. Y'all did great, and I have a prize for you, a t-shirt. All right, you guys, thank you very much, and we're gonna go back to the casters for game 2.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We are here at the Intel Extreme Masters World Championships. It is SK Gaming versus Against All Authorities. Against All Authorities taking it 1-0 already. What a fantastic match we had there, Joe. And they were so strong.
I'm not sure if you can really say that it was such a fantastic match, actually. I think
Yeah,
against All
right.
Authority, it was all right. But against All Authority, if you're an aAa fan, that was a
awesome
fantastic
for them,
match
yeah.
for you. Because they just looked so solid. That little bit of a failed gank on level 2 gifting the double kill over. That was an early part of the game to actually lose it. And I just looked at a few comments there about Ocelot's Galio, because as you mentioned, he played a great Galio against TSM. For me, he didn't get enough support from Dedrin in that middle area. He needed, they had to take down Roma.
We can't go down that road. The amount of times you see it in solo games, oh my God, my jungler's not helping me. It's like, well, you got to win your own lane on your own. And he was against Carthus. He could have poked at range, but I don't know. something just didn't tick for SK in that game. And, obviously that blue buff being stole away very early on caused them problems. And Mundo, it was Mundo literally from, I think it was like level 2 or 3, he was in there taking away. So they didn't even get that blue buff for the first sort of 10, I'm not sure if they got it the second time either. I think they might have. But so the first 10 minutes they didn't have blue buff, and he's against Momo with a blue buff. So it's immediately hard. You're up against a blue buff, he can just spam that lay waste out. All sorts of problems. Obviously top, they had that double kill, so immediately it actually set the jungler back because he didn't get the blue, he didn't get the experience or anything there, lost the double kill at the top, so they were set back very early on. And these things can cause problems throughout the game, and obviously they, against our authorities who are a top team, and they just made them punish. They just pushed home their advantage, and they were in their faces every time they came to team fight. But like we mentioned, once it came to that dragon fight, it actually went fairly even.
Yeah,
they should have been there back for it.
I think it was 4 apiece, right? But SK then just seemed to just let it go. Almost as if, okay, that fight was actually pretty, considering how the game was, pretty decent for us. The positioning was good. Shyvana across went all well. But then against Authority did something which you would kind of expect, is go straight back to Dragon because it wasn't picked up.
My only thing is maybe they were thinking, okay, we've burnt all our ultis in that fight, and we just about came off even, and they probably thought, you know what, I'm not too sure. Yeah, we might lose the fight. So.
But they kind of half came, two guys from middle lane,
lost 3 people,
was underneath, and I think just communication, maybe more than anything there for SK, wasn't quite as good as it should have been. They've had a couple of minutes here in the break. By the way, the guy who shouted Demacia last there had
very girly.
Was the best one. It was the best one of all time. So we seem to be about ready. I think we have the other commentators in here as well.
Yeah, so obviously anyone that is watching as well, don't forget to follow us on Twitter. It's QVDman for myself, and of course Joe_Miller. And we're trying to trend IEM, #IEM, I believe it is.
There it is.
There it is.
Use it.
I was told off for using it earlier.
Really?
We're going to have a very angry person backstage.
Who back?
They've got a lovely graphic. You're picking, you're stealing his thunder. And of course, we've got the carry-only and support-only T-shirts on now.
Good guy, bad guy.
Yeah, that's me. Bad guy all the way. But yeah, don't worry, guys. I didn't get naked in front of everyone. I did go backstage to do this.
Thank the Lord for that one.
It wouldn't have been pleasant. So, it was a Chinese team. They're picking on the German keyboards that I'm using here. I can't type on German keyboards. The Z and the Y is the wrong way around. I get it all mixed up.
You realise it's actually an English keyboard.
I know,
layout.
but well, it was German the other day. They've moved the machines. It's completely thrown me out completely. But if you missed it earlier on, ladies and gentlemen, we had CLG versus Team Curse getting through in 3rd place, CLG 2nd place in Group A. CLG took that one, unfortunately, 2-0. I may have just spoilt it for you if you wanted to watch the rerun. Sorry about that, guys.
I wasn't going to do that.
Well, you know what? They're already in the semi-finals. So it's going to be Moscow 5 versus CLG. This is going to be tomorrow. These are tomorrow's matches. And it's Dignitas waiting for the winner of this match, which will be either SK or Against All Authorities. Against All Authorities are looking so strong, though. Yeah. But if they do get there, they lost heavily to Dignitas in the group stage.
Yeah, and this is what makes it so interesting. You've got Moscow 5 versus CLG, a game that I think everyone wanted to see anyway.
Especially after Kiev, that CLG were giving it the big one. They were in Korea at the time. We were like, wow, we'd have beat them. Yeah, no problem.
Could have been. Well, we're going to find that out tomorrow, obviously, as we move into the semi-final. Dignitas, as you said, looks so strong. Actually, I didn't see Moscow 5 today, but Dignitas were here exactly the same time as us this morning, around 7:45, I think it was. And they're actually sat in the Counter-Strike playing area, and they're practicing already for hours.
That's actually interesting, because one of the things that Team Solo Mid said to us on the very first day was like, oh, we've got nowhere to practice. Dignitas have found it. Well, they got ODM, they sussed it out. They've got the StarCraft guys, and it's like, keep hold of these PCs, Ryan, move. You go practice.
And that's one thing that could maybe sway a difference as well tomorrow. Obviously, against Authority and SK are playing their game now, so I guess that's technically practice as well. But for Moscow 5 and Dignitas, the two teams that had a day off essentially today, I think Dignitas using their time really, really wisely.
They are using their time wisely. Meanwhile, Moscow 5 were sat watching the CLG match. You know, they're keeping their eye on exactly what they're going to be up against.
That's also good preparation.
Yeah, so they were keeping their eye. And Alex actually said to me, he says, well, CLG going to take this one easily. That was at the very first game. So he was pretty confident they were going to face CLG. So they've probably been preparing for it, talking about it, who we're going to get, how we're going to counter them. It's going to be an interesting one, and that will be tomorrow, though. So at the moment, it is against Authority in the lead, and I'm not too sure. SK are going to really have to rally themselves. I'm just going to check, see on the stage. Yeah, they've been up high-fiving each other, etc. Like normally you're getting the group hugs going, you know, the traditional team sort of stuff that you see, the motivational speeches from Ocelot, probably giving it his William Wallace as best he can in Spanish. But against all Authorities, they just look so strong. You know, they've really come together. We said it before, they came together online. They've played so well. They beat Moscow 5 2-0 just in the midweek. I think it was Tuesday night, I believe. I was getting the reports back while I was in a hotel room in the middle of nowhere, aka Durham in the UK, which is, it's actually a nice little quaint city, but it's really in the middle of nowhere. It really is the middle of nowhere. But and they have looked strong. The big question we had on them is, can they bring it online? Well, they've brought it, and they have looked incredibly strong so far. SOAS has played fantastic. N-rated is the support with Yellowstar. They've looked like a different team down the bottom there. Osaft, you know, great player, but he didn't quite... he just got caught out a few too many times in Kiev. Obviously, they felt they needed to change it up. Obviously, Althor in the middle. Althor has been fantastic online. Superb middle, but he didn't really turn up again, like I said, at Kiev. So against Authorities, we're looking a little bit weak at Kiev. Now they've come here, they've made that adjustments, which can be hit and miss, but it's looking a big hit at the moment, because Moma in the middle, well, he's been across quite a few teams. He used to play for SK, remember? Don't forget.
And actually left because he wanted to concentrate on university. And then you saw the you know, 2 weeks later, who was top of the solo ratings. Oh, that was Moma after like 400 games played in 2 weeks. I really wanted to focus hard. But it's good to see Momo back, and he's doing a great job actually in against all Authority so far.
Yeah, he is doing a great job, and Linak in the jungle is looking like a different man. We saw him playing the Shakos, etc., and things were just not working out for him at Kiev. But again, this might be a case of having a little bit more confidence. We talked about same with Dedre and Kevin at the top. Kevin's looked like a different player in this tournament. You know, other than the single game against Moscow 5, he hadn't lost a kill, and ironically, he was one of the first deaths. And when Kevin dies, they lose. That's been the rule so far. So we should have known really from the very first kill that against Authority 1, nothing to see here, guys.
Yeah, actually, it's, so far it's been true, the myth of Kevin, actually, that's going on. So we seem to be getting a couple more guys into the server, into the game, and then we can kick this one off. For those of you that are here in the audience, of course, we will have a little bit later on the Intel Friday night game. Will be in all German. And it will be League of Legends as well. Alternate versus aAa, two of the top teams will be facing off. That will be a StarCraft 2 game as well. Apparently we are waiting for the admin, who's telling us to wait.
Cheers, Dave.
The players are ready, the casters are ready. The admin's not quite sure if he's quite just ready just yet. Ocelot
wants us to talk about him, because
and how great he is.
And how great he is. Actually, to be fair, he did the thing on stage the other day, the impressions, I believe it was. He had to judge it. We've seen a few players obviously doing it already. We saw Dignitas, Skara and Voyboy doing it earlier on. And it's been working out quite well. It's good for the fans to get up there and meet the players as well. They're pretty accommodating as well. And that's the one thing I've noticed about League of Legends players. They're all fairly new to esports, etc. So they're happy to come down, have photographs taken, autographs given to them. You know, they'll come occasionally between the matches. You can see obviously the big stage behind them. They'll come to the front of the stage and they'll quite happily have the pictures taken. But we are finally underway. So we're going to go into the picks and bans, or the Big Ben, whichever one you call it.
We still didn't explain that one. Maybe between games, if we get game number 3, which I hope we will, actually. And the first ban's coming out. Car first ban, we obviously saw Momo having a great time with that in the first game. Irelia, which is just a champion that they don't want Kevin to have full stop.
No, they don't want Kevin to have full stop, so they kept that one away from him. It didn't work out so well from the last game. Taking Irelia as way, and Morgana taken away from Ocelot. Now remember, Cassiopeia was available in the last time. So didn't take it, went for that Galio. It was more about the Cogmore strategy I think they were running the last game, which just didn't work out because Kenny Panda just got caught too many times. And once they managed to get the abilities that they could just get him, pop him instantly, it was kind of bad. And they've actually banned Galio this time. That is interesting because I wouldn't have expected Mama to go with Galio.
I wouldn't expect him to have gone with that either, so...
No.
I don't know, I don't really agree with that whole, with that Galio ban for them. Obviously, MoMA has a wide range of champions. As you mentioned, first game, Cassiopeia was open, and possibly going to be left open. Yeah, it's going to be left open again for SK to take. Now, I wonder if Against All Authority are baiting that Cassiopeia pick.
Well, I'm wondering whether, because Against All Authority is going to have the first pick, so whether they're going to go for it or whether they're saying, are you going to use the ban up there? Remember, Shen's available as well, so maybe they're trying to keep Shen available for Soaz up the top there. It's going to be it's a tricky ban for SK here. They've got a lot of characters. Bear in mind, there's 93 heroes in League of Legends now.
Just a couple.
There's quite a few to pick from. It's a hard game now, I'd say, for people to actually walk into. You know, okay, so the fast junglers are taken away and immediately Shen insta-locked.
That wasn't a surprise at all. When you take Mundo out there and you've got Shyvana out of there, Shen at the moment super strong. It's not really a surprise to see. Wonder what SK are going to go for. I'm assuming that we're going to see those AP carriers pick last actually in this matchup. Janna, who was banned
in the last game, yeah. And Udyr, of course. So there could be Udyr top lane or jungle. I'm not too sure whether it'd be against Shen. I've seen a few posts actually going, well, of course Shen's always going to be jungle. Well, no, because Hotshot obviously just played him top lane in the last game. And in Europe, Shen has played quite a lot in the top lane. Yeah. It's only been the first day they kind of played him in jungle all the time. St. Vicious was playing it all the time in the jungle. So this time around, Against All Authorities, they don't have the support they want. I guess they're probably going to go with Sona here. And maybe Soraka, I would doubt it though. If you've got Nerf ever so slight, well, about Nerf, it's a balance, I guess you could say, is the best way of putting it. But everyone, as soon as something gets done, it's a Nerf. It's a straight Nerf. Okay, Maokai coming out here. Now this is going to be a horrible team to face already for any AP champion, because obviously you've got Shen to come in with the shield. You've got the magic resist that Soaz is going to be able to lay down. Well, it's not going to be Soaz, it's going to be the jungler laying down, so which means it will be Shen in that top lane. And again, Leona played very well in there. Will they go with Corki again? I would guess so. It worked so well for them in the first game.
Yeah, why not? When something's working down there, why change it, actually? I'm expecting that we'll see Against All Authority possibly go for, you know, a little bit different of a style this time, maybe more aggressive and try and finish this game off. SK, you'd expect them 1-0 behind. They have to win this and they have to win the next one. So I could expect them to be playing very, you know, solidly and a bit defensive, quite possibly, as we do see Graves and Lee Sin locked in for SK Gaming.
Yeah, so probably going to be Udyr along the top against Shen, I would guess. So it's going to be Lee Sin and Maokai in the jungle, which means that bottom lane, will it be Corki? I'm not too sure, you know. They've got quite a few available to them, and it's really a case of what Yellow Star's happy with. He seemed to be pretty happy with Corki in the last game. Ari in the middle, okay, that's an interesting one. That's going to be very fast attacking, and it will be Corki. So looking like he's going to go with the Corki in there. So the middle AP, what are you going to do to counter against Ari? That's assuming Ari is going to get locked in, which will be MoMA's choice. So Linac will be locking in Corki. It looks like they're both going to get locked in anyway. Okay. No, Malzahar maybe? Well, I mean, that's incredible control if they go with Malzahar, but I don't think they're going to lock it in. Oh, I don't know. You know what? I'm casting my mind back. When was the last time I saw Malzahar in a tournament? I don't remember.
I don't remember
ever.
I don't remember.
Maybe I think I saw it online recently in Nordic East, but I don't remember seeing it in a major Grand Finals World Championships here in Kiev, but in Hanover, in Kiev, we definitely didn't see it in Kiev. I'm all over the place. So what are they going to do? They need an ability power champion against what is effectively an AFK farming champion. He's just going to put that dot on him and go, walk away, I'm off to get me chips or something. In a very English phrase there.
Yeah, interesting to see, because it is Ocelot who does have this last pick. He is obviously the man that plays that mid lane, the AP champion. We've mentioned before, he loves Cassiopeia, he loves to play Cassiopeia. She is open as well, but does she fit against Malzahar?
Not really. It's a horrible pick. Not so much Malzahar, well, he's gone with it.
He's gone with it.
I'm thinking more of Maokai in there. That's
Yeah.
I'm not convinced by that. This is not looking good, I don't think, for SK. Maybe I'll be proved completely wrong. Obviously, Ocelot, you know, one of the best Cassiopeia, most known Cassiopeia players. I know we've obviously seen that with Mr. Bitzer. He did his tutorial video while we were in Kiev, you know, just showing him how to play it. And even made Mr. Bitzer actually play quite well.
Which is surprising me because I've seen him play on his own and it's not that good. But yeah, Ocelot, he's obviously going for maybe something that he feels real confident with, that he thinks, you know, this can push us through. Bottom lane for SK going to be Janna Graves, a slight change to what we saw in the last game, Cogmore Sona. Actually, I think that without Sona in that last game, SK would have got even more stomped on, because there were at least 2 times that Sona ulti, the crescendo, actually saved them.
Yeah, but it's good protection, much better protection down the bottom there. Obviously, Graves has got his own little dash, he can get out of there, he can get the shield from Janna as well, but that combo down the bottom worked very well for them. I'm not too sure whether they'll be able to pull off the ganks that they did last time against Candy Panda. Cockmore was a very sluggish champion. If he gets caught, he's in a lot of trouble. He's very low, especially early on, and that's what they did. Obviously, the whole thing about Cockmore is just try and farm as much as possible. What they've got to do is also stop Shen farming like crazy. Shen has very good stats when he gets farmed up. I mean, just look at Hotshot in the last game this morning. Once he just AFK farmed along the top, he was so confident. It was just like, well, you can come near me, but you're not going to do any damage to me. I'm just going to lifesteal it back. I'm just going to dash away when you even get close to remotely killing me. So he's got so much escapability. So on him is going to be a scary thing indeed.
So let's talk about the favourites once again. We both actually said SK before the first game. After seeing match 1
against
and seeing the
for me.
Yeah,
without a doubt, I think they've picked up some very strong picks here. Whether it was a mistake or whether they were baited into letting Shen available, I'm of the opinion that Shen should not be made available in any of these games at the moment. Certainly in the current patch, he's been strong, and they nerfed him a little bit, but he is still very strong. In the right hands, he can produce some phenomenal scores, and he is in the right hands right here.
That Corki Leona lane in game number 1 was absolutely amazing for me as well. I'm interested to see how Momo does with Malzahar. I don't remember ever seeing Momo play Malzahar, but we are going to find out here. It's against All Authority going up against SK Gaming for match number 2.
So let's give you a quick roster rundown of the teams. If you missed the picks and bans, it will be against All Authorities in the blue. And just keeping my eye on the opening proceedings. We haven't seen a level 1 fight yet in this entire tournament, which is pretty amazing, really. The American teams are kind of known for it. Against All Authorities, I'll just go through it. It is going to be Yellow Star on Corki, N-rated is on Leona, Soaz on Shen, Moma on Malzahar, and Maokai will be Linak. For SK Gaming, it will be Nif on Janna. You can see just drifting away down the bottom, whereas SK gather up. Dedrayan on Lee Sin. Candy Panda will be on Graves down the bottom lane. Kevin will be along the top lane on Udir. Meanwhile, Ocelot in the middle will be on the Snake, that is Cassiopeia. Now, the teams have avoided each other fairly well. They do have Clairvoyance on SK, but no Clairvoyance for against All Authorities, so they're effectively blind here. And actually, you know what? I think they might come around behind them. I'm just going to keep my eye. And you can see the whole point is they want to interrupt this man here. You can see he's laying down his saplings. They want to try and interrupt as much as possible, which is a fairly standard tactic. The question is whether they can get in at time. And you can see he's actually going to clear out that wave. Oh, and he's going the other way. Very clever play there. The pings went down. They realised it. They're going to try and catch out. They actually caught a glimpse of Yellow Star down the bottom there. Candy Panda's going to push onto him. Dedrayan also in there, and the rest of SK actually split off. You know, that could have gone so horribly wrong. SK will manage to take away this red buff, though. I think it's going to be, will it go to Candy Panda, or will Dedrayan take it away? Dedrayan would be the one, yeah, it's just going to smite it and take it away, and they're going to back off. But you know what? I was surprised that they actually didn't go towards Maokai as he actually pulled that, because they knew he was going to start there.
Yeah, I'm not sure if they expected him then to drop down towards red, and that was the thing. But you know, the whole mana thing with the saplings would make you think that he's going to go that blue direction anyway. But if he'd have come the safer route, I'd say, around the backside of that outer turret, then that would have been a dead Maokai. So it was a decent gamble, I'd say, from SK. Either way, they managed to steal red, so that's a bonus from them at this point of it. We are going to see Lee Sin taking blue buff.
Not making the same mistake either.
Is that going to mean a level 2 gank from Lee Sin?
Not sure. I just think he's a little bit worried about Linek actually taking it away pretty early on last time. So he's more interested in, he's like, well, I'm going to get this quickly and then go about my business. Linek, however, has got the blue buff. Obviously, this time the red buff has been taken away from him. So roles reversed. The question is, can Linek do anything about it? I'm going to keep my eye on the hit points of the other lanes. I don't think aAa and Shen's going to have too much issues early on. They want to try and deal with Cassiopeia early on. Like I mentioned, Ocelot. They want to stop him getting as farmed as possible. His aim will be picking up a couple of Doran's rings and going straight towards that Will of the Ancients as fast as possible, or at least that's what I'm guessing he's going to go to. He is against Momo though. Momo's going to be very hard to stop farming, because I'd expect him to just sit there and build up this malefic visions, if I can say the word right, and he simply farms. All he does is he puts it on that minion once he's low, and he'll just tick between them all once it's up to about 4 or 5. Meanwhile, you can see it at the top level. Oh, just catching a glimmer on Corki actually down the bottom, diving on towards Candy Panda. Ignite has gone out. Leona's managed to catch him on there. Howling Gale has just whipped across and saved his bacon though. Back up the top, you can see diving on towards Soaz. Soaz will back away from that one. The slow was down, but Drayan is going to have to back away. Didn't force any flashes either there, so Drayan still very safe along the top, and then down the bottom you can see they managed to get away with it without burning too much. You can see actually Flash Heal was used by Candy Panda, so that's a big advantage for against all authorities down the bottom lane.
Yeah, next time that all happens, it could be scary stuff for Candy Panda. Obviously, Janna did go fairly low as well, I think down to around about half HP. That gank up at top also not succeeding, and so as up to full HP once again will be causing Kevin a few little issues. In the middle, which is, for me, possibly the most interesting lane to watch in this game, Malzahar versus Cassiopeia. It's already a 10 CS lead for Malzahar, which is something that we pointed out. Actually, just to let you know, he skilled into his E first. But anyway, down at bottom, we have got Maokai coming in. They're going to dive in onto Nif. Howling Gale did land, but surely that's a dead Nif. It will be. And the sapling, or present as it actually is, running onto Candy Panda as well. And first blood will go over to Against All Authority. Yeah, very nice setup by Against All Authority as well. Obviously forcing the issue in the last engage, and you can see Flash was used by Nif there, but it was just too little too late. As soon as he saw that Maokai coming out the side there, he can be lethal when he jumps on you, and that's what Ocelot's being very careful about, farming up quite well on his tower there. And Momo also going to be just naturally pushing the lane there. Back at the top you can see they're poking back and forward. Soaz and Kevin, they're going to trade blows a little bit, but it's going to be like a fat man in Grimsby fighting, I believe is the phrase I like to use quite often for those two, because generally the two top bruisers, there's not a lot of action, and occasionally they'll catch out. You can see he's being very confident. He's going to go in there, get the stun down, but Kevin will just force him back. So Soaz actually forced away from this one, has time to use a health pot up, did start off with the boots and 3 pots, as well as Kevin, and you know it's been pushed back and forward between these two at the moment. Yeah, I think this could be turning out to be a real even lane. Let's see how Soaz actually deals with the CS all pushed up onto his turret, and actually perfectly he's managing that one as well. So, you know, Soaz, as we've mentioned before, that last game playing a great Wukong, actually playing amazing throughout the whole tournament as well, and he doesn't seem to be showing any signs of stopping that at this point either.
Yeah, Drayan on a cheeky invade there. Maokai's had his actually didn't get the large wolf, I don't believe. Oh yeah, he must have got the. Seeing Drayan going in there, he's going up towards the golems. Let's have a look towards the middle. You can see he's just been back and bought. It is double Doran's rings and 2 wards, being very careful in the middle. The same for Ocelot, although he couldn't get the 2 wards, so he's got double Doran's rings as well. Expect him to build towards those amplifying terms. You can see Linek though on a invade here, cheeky invade, takes away the major wraith, will actually leave the 2 small, will he just take 1? Yeah, he'll just like get that extra 4 gold and leave it as is. Back up towards the top, you can see Kevin now coming back and looking very strong. Doran's ring, Doran's blade, sorry, and a vampiric scepter for him. Meanwhile, Soaz has yet to go back, which is why he's just about turned that lane round. Soaz going to have to back away here. Kevin's going to have a slight advantage and maybe push it. I'm just seeing Maokai though in the middle. Going to keep my eye on the bottom in a moment. I can see they're having a little engage, but nothing serious. And now Maokai is going to try and come around the backside. Does get spotted by Drayan. That's going to save Ocelot's bacon, because I think if he had been able to get in time, you can see he was trying his best to force Ocelot forward. He wasn't using his E ability, which you can see is slowly building up. He's just going to level up. It's going to naturally push that lane. Drayan, though, on a cheeky little invade here. Where is Momo going? He's going to place that ward. The blue buff has just spawned, Joe. May try and steal it away.
Yeah, they may actually go for this one as well. And, well, They are hanging in there, and Drayan has started off. We've got Udia coming in, Ocelot is there as well, and this would be a massive bonus to Ocelot if they can manage to pull it off. Actually, he's going to ulti in onto Moma. That was very quick damage. Linak is there though, and Ocelot could find himself in a whole host of trouble. We do see Malzahar go down. He did pick up the kill, but now it's a focus in onto Linak, who will not quite get away from that one. But here is Soaz. Taunt will land. Droyan is ignited, but he will dash away, but he is finished off with that ignite. And again, a massive fight around blue buff, which you've seen countless times so far during this tournament.
And yeah, the blue buff is still there as well. They did manage to pick it up, and I believe, yes they did. It's definitely gone. It's not there at all. Actually, Soaz with the blue buff. So that's
transferred.
Yeah,
all over the place.
Transferred across the few, but also like kind of caught out of position there. And he couldn't quite just get out of it. And he did use the flash. I think it was to engage though, rather than in a defensive method. So why he actually used it, because he was only here. He literally caught him in the face, and I didn't quite catch out whether it was a fail flash or not, whether he didn't quite manage to bounce backwards. But yeah, Ocelot getting caught out there. But you know what? The kills wise, he's got 0, 1, 2. Meanwhile, you can see Malzahar did pick up a kill, and that advantage you can see is immediately giving those Sorcerer's Boots. Sorcerer's Boots also on Cassiopeia. Down the bottom, it is still very passive between these two. Just going to keep farming it up as much as possible. 47 CS to 61 though, so you can see Yellowstar again getting that advantage in case of farming against Candy Panda, just like the first game. And again at the top, you can see Shen now with that 1-0 advantage. And well, you know, he has 2-0, but he is just slightly behind in CS. Actually, he's not too bad, mainly for the fact he has been away from lane a while.
And it's always scary. Bottom. We are going to see Linak coming in, and well, he is surely going to go down. He's actually flashed himself away. They're going to turn around onto Candy Panda. Dedrian is in there. The presence thrown in as well. Dedrian trying his best to keep pushing. Ocelot came down. Actually, the silence didn't work. There was a flash from Yellowstar, and again we see the it's poisoned. That's a little bit worrying for Yellowstar. He will get away from it. Actually, Moma is still there. Dedrian's coming back. Candy Panda's coming back. Yellowstar is very low, and he should just get himself right away from this one. Ocelot needs to be careful. They're going to dive in onto him. Shield comes down from Jana. Howling Gale is going to save him, and there is the kill onto Moma after all that. And SK taking a risk, but it turned out to be a calculated one in the end.
It was a brilliant risk, and you know what? Ocelot landed that ultimate. Perfect timing. The second Leona went in and managed to land it and catch out both of them, and they will surely pick up this dragon. You can see Ocelot will be very happy with that. Did he pick up much gold in amongst say? Yeah, he got 770 gold, so he'll be very happy. Meanwhile, you can see at the top there, Soaz also being forced away. The dragon will be picked up by SK, so SK looking back in the driving seat, very close on gold though. So you can see the farming difference for Against All Authorities is made to tell, because that's 1,000 gold they just picked up from that dragon. And you can see in terms of farming that Against All Authorities are winning out the lanes. Kevin now is going to have a bit of an advantage to push on towards the tower here. Has been back briefly. You can see he's got that Wriggles Lantern already complete. Sent Shen packing a moment ago, so Shen having to return back to lane, picking up that Giant's belt. So he's going to come up and find his tower down to half health already.
Yeah, currently Enrated out that bottom lane is going to be forcing that wave back. Actually, a new one comes in. We will see Graves and Jana return to lane. So let's have a look at the difference between the two AD carries. Double Doran's Blade plus a Madrid's Razor, so building up to Wriggles is Candy Panda, something that we've seen he likes to do. And they're going to dive in onto Nif, and this is something that we talked about in the last game and previous to start in this one, how dangerous that bottom lane is. When N-Rated lands his skills and gets in there, you can literally explode those supporters.
He can do. Missed that one. Sorry about that, guys. Candy Panda, though, he's going to quite happily farm up, and you know what? It's not the end of the world losing your support, but it is still a kill, and early on it is a big kill. And then that going out, it's going to place himself a ward towards. They're actually checking towards Wraiths. If he'd have gone the other side, he'd have spotted Kevin on the red buff. Just keeping my eye on Ocelot. Ocelot's actually gone with the Negatron Cloak, so building up a little bit of magic resist early on there against Malzahar. Puts a ward straight down in Lennox's face, who actually has the Oracle as well. Will poison up, get a Twin Fang on him, but he's going to lose that ward out. So Ocelot's not going to be happy with that. That's a quick 75 gold waste. Meanwhile, you can see Against All Authority. Oh, don't shoot yourself just yet. Ocelot's going to walk around. Oh, the Clairvoyants actually went down, so they knew they were there, and they had to force them away. The question is, can they engage here? And you can see Leona trying to cheeky engage, and they've had to back off there. So Moma, at the moment, trying to push forward, trying to drive it home. They realise the blue buff will be spawning soon. But Against All Authorities are actually starting to get very aggressive here.
Yeah, they are. They've, 4-3 up. There's still 600 gold in the lead despite that dragon going over to SK Gaming. Ward put down in the brush as well, so N-Rated will feel like he's got control of that one. They are going to dive in onto Nif once again, and again, guess what? He's just going to explode. And Nif not having the best time of things today, not in the first game, and that's the second time in this game as well that they've managed to pull that one. Meanwhile, up at top, we are seeing Dedrian come around. Soaz on the turret. Are they going to dive into him? Actually, they will taunt him, and that is a wise move, because Dedrian is going to take the tower hits, and he's got the ignite on him as well. Kevin now trying to pull this one off. Momo's going to come down. Suppression goes in onto Kevin. Will they be able to finish off, though? Null Zone actually completely out of the way, and Momo now, he's going to flash in. He's fancying his chances here. Oh, and that silence one missing, but the ignite will finish off. Dedrian escapes with just a little bit of HP, and again, great #1 teamwork, but possibly even more important, the communication there. Momo was there in exactly the right moment to save his teammate and to get the kills.
Yeah, and the last bit of mana as well used up to get that kill, so he's working out again and against all authorities. Lane, they started off very, very even, but they are starting to drive home that advantage, despite the fact they lost out on that dragon, that big team fight down the bottom, as SK managed to pick up those kills. But they are looking strong again in lane phases here. And I tell you what, a lot of it's been down to N-Rated. He's managed to catch out on Nif twice now, and Nif has just been popped instantly. Corki's now with that Sheen as well, which has been causing the problem. You can see Warmog's now already completed by Shen. So Shen is going to be very, very tanky already. 2,400 getting that very early on, so it's going to be ticking away. Looking towards the top, you can see Dedrian again. They want to deal with Soaz. And Kevin now coming around. He has that brilliant spot on. He has a bit of damage. He has the Heart of Gold. Will Dedrian go towards it? No, because they're going towards the blue buff down the bottom here. Immediately, Oslo actually catching out Momo, managed to get the ulti down on him. Shen having to use his ulti, trying to catch him out. It won't be enough, though. The ignite will go down. Meanwhile, you can see Linak being engaged. Shen has come in, though. Will he get on towards Oslo? Oslo's going to try and get away from this one. Has flashed away. Will escape in time. Meanwhile, Dedrian now in trouble. He's used his ward very nicely there just to escape away from Linak. Linak is going to have to escape this one. He's got the Oracle. Kevin wants to get the kill on him. Ocelot comes back in to try and get the blue. Caught out by Soaz there. And now they're going to try and steal that blue away. They have got the blue, but you know what? They didn't need to lose Ocelot in there.
No, I'm really surprised at that one. It was all down to the warding as well. This ward sitting in the bush, and actually Soaz was, I'm sure, thinking, come on, just a little bit closer. Taunt will actually land in there, and they managed to do it. But Yellow Star, turning things straight around, he decides, okay, I'm going to go in for your blue buff. Actually, Nif has come in as well. That surprised me that he's done the damage, and actually will be taken away by Candy Panda. Valkyrie over the top. Quick draw will follow, and Yellow Star may be in a little bit of trouble. Actually, N-Rated is coming in as well. Will they try and push this one? Certainly doesn't look that way. Linak was there, but he's not very high on mana either. And we are going to see Kevin taking this top turret down. Nothing that Soaz can do against the Man-Bear Pig.
Man-Bear Pig can get very strong, as can Shen. It's going to be an interesting fight when those two start getting fed, which they are at the moment. Very even in CS between them. Only 10 CS difference. 112 to Shen, 101 to Udyr. Meanwhile, the two AD carries, you can see, is a big difference for Corki. Obviously, Corki's been picking up those kills as well, which has helped so much. N-Rated playing a brilliant support so far in this game. Candy Panda will return to lane. 20 CS behind at the moment, so he really needs to pick up as much as possible. The tower taking them out in that one. And Ocelot is the one that's really having the struggle here. You can see he's gone for that quick silver sash early on. So worried about that suppression that Momo can throw out there. Momo, meanwhile, is quite happily just building up his ability power, getting that blasting wand out there. So it's actually caused Ocelot to change his build about a fair amount. So he's now finally picked up that amplifying tome. Will obviously slowly build towards that Willie the Ancients, I would assume. Dedrian, though, looking like he's going to pull out the dragon here, Joe.
Yeah, starting here at least, but they need to be careful. Linak is there, and Dedrian will actually back away. Linak is taking things away in the mid. We are going to see the push coming down. Kevin Land getting the suppression on him. Momo will live through this one. Soaz is going to get the kill. Ocelot is surely going to go down as well. No, Janna all to use. Well, they are going to try and force in. They are going to dive straight onto the tower. Dedrian goes down. Ocelot get away from there. Linak actually decides to flash over the top. Will get himself away in the end. And I tell you what, that was a great fight again for Against All Authority. Ocelot really just hanging on to his life, and as soon as I saw him turn around, I thought he could end up in a similar fashion. But, you know, Shen, that's the beauty of him.
Yeah, and
right
a little
there.
sloppy play, I feel, for Kevin as well there. You know,
Yeah.
he just came straight down, strolled across like he was a boss, and he just got completely caught out. Shen and Malzahar was straight on him. And, you know, the rest of the team reacted quickly. It's like, we've caught someone. Therefore, everybody turned to pole. Oh, Candy Panda caught out of position. He's going to have to use his flash away. Yellowstar follows that flash through. He's going to continue hammering away. Oh, and Leona catches up brilliantly. That's going to be a double kill. And that is going to look bad for SK. The AD and support both going down. Now, Against All Authorities really driving home that advantage. The snowball has begun.
Yeah, rolling down the hill, actually.
Avalanche.
That snowball getting bigger and bigger as we go. Yellowstar, just to add to that 205 plus the 30 or so farm extra that he's got, he's now got double buff as well. So we're going to see him push in this lane, most likely. He needs to be careful though that Ocelot, you know, just doesn't dump onto him and really get him down. But Yellowstar, that's kind of the best position he could actually hope to be in at this point. Candy Panda, on the other hand, 0-1-1 in both games so far. We've seen him, I'd say, fairly quiet up until this stage. Jana 0-4-1, not really had much luck, has Nif, but again, that's all down to the bottom lane selection. They've got a great kill lane in there with with Leona, able to slide in and just explode Nif. That's happened at least twice now, where actually that double kill at the end was Leona as well that caught them both out, and also in the last game as well. So, you know, those strong picks actually causing that from Against All Authority.
Linak coming around the backside. Kevin has spotted him now, wards up the tri-bush and backs away. The rest of the team were already moving up towards him, hoping to get some free cheeky engage. But, you know, Against All Authorities have just not been putting themselves in those dangerous positions. They're quite clever at this, and they've been managing to catch out. Momo actually being caught a little bit there, but Ocelot really doesn't have the damage, and you can just see it. Wow, how much that Malefic Vision's just ticking away, burning him down, and he's losing a lot of hit points down the bottom. They're diving on towards Nif once again. Candy Panda's trying his best to defend them, but Ocelot, Yellowstar is so strong right now. Trinity Force nearly complete. Let's have a look towards the gold, actually, of them. You can see he's slowly building up, nearly got towards that 1,748 gold. He's definitely about to buy Trinity Force and complete that. So Yellowstar has been doing fantastically well. Linux been doing a great job as well, held on to that Oracles and really not got involved too much, but N-Rated really has been initiating superbly well, like you say, Joe.
Yeah, the initiations in this bottom lane and across the map generally from N-Rated have been top notch up until this point. Moment needs to be careful not to take too much damage from the poison. Actually, built up needlessly large rod, blasting wand already finished in there. In terms of CS in that middle area, 134 to 129, so it's actually really close, considering that, I guess if we looked at 1.5 minutes in, Momo already was starting to gain a lead in that creep score, but that's been brought back now. The problem is 2-3-3 for Momo, 2-2-2 for Ocelot.
Yeah, and
with the Quicksilver Sash,
Shen
which
4-0 is the
difference.
problem, though. Yeah, 2-0-5 Corky Cookie. Now we've got that Trinity Force on, and you can see Shirelia's Reveille has been completed as well by Maokai. And, wow, just look at the AP difference. You can see Momo up to 212, nearly got that Rabadon's Death Camp complete. Meanwhile, Ocelot's been trying to have to build defensive. He's had to go for that Quicksilver Sash early on. Now he's going for a Rylas as well. Not really in a happy place at the moment, Ocelot. He needs to try and farm as much as possible and try and get that gold to try and catch up, but it's just not working out because N-Rated just keeps initiating on people, keeps catching them out. Shen as well is now starting to get beastly. You can see he's got that chain vest, he's got the warmogs, he's just building hit points upon hit points upon hit points. He's probably going to have 5k hit points before the end of this one and lifesteal away. And that is one of the things why Shen really gets banned a lot, if he just gets left alone. And on a top player like Soaz, this top turret's going to go down in a moment. The question is, will Corky get caught out of position here? He has a lot of escape, he has that Valkyrie, but at the moment he's well out of position, he's realised it. He's going to sneak around the back there. Yeah, and he's just like, I don't want to be involved in this one. Linux actually been spotted, throws out a present, says, yeah, you go that way. And Yellowstar just sticks there. Quite ballsy play to just stick around there when he realised there's 4 members of SK there. You can see Against All Authorities actually trying to close them off, continuing to push the lane, and they want to go back for Kevin. There we go. Now they've got 3 people collapsing on towards the tower. They're going to dive him here. You can see Linak diving on. He's going to take the tower hits. Actually, Yellowstar taking the tower hits. That's not ideal. He backs out. Going to give the tower hits back towards Soaz. So Kevin now is not going to get away from this. You can see the slow there. Nif's going to come in, maybe try and do a monsoon and force them away from this one. Great ulti there from Ocelot. We'll catch on Linak. That's an Oracle burnt there. And SK managed to catch out towards Soaz now. He's got a lot of hit points, but it's a great ulti kick from What I'm just going to see, he's going to go straight towards Candy Panda, getting caught with the Malefic Visions, and he's been suppressed. Candy Panda, no, but a good Howling Gale will interrupt him. Candy Panda's going to get away from that one. I don't believe he's managed to survive. Dreyan will get picked out. Candy Panda, why have you just returned to this fight? Because Moma is just picking him up left, right, and centre, getting many kills. And you know what? From SK having a great advantage there against all authorities, reacted so quickly to get through that jungle, Joe.
Yeah, that almost looked as if it was going to go pear-shaped for against all authority. We saw them pushing in onto Udia. You know, it's always difficult to take down with three. Actually, Valkyrie was used by Corki to get away from it, but then came back into the fight. For me, again, Ocelot should have just run in the first place. He came back again. That's how we saw saw it happen in the middle when he went down. I think he should have just got himself away and stayed alive, because we've now seen 4-3-3 on Malzahar to that 3-3-2. Obviously, Corki 2-0-7 already got Trinity Force built up. And if you compare them, you know, the two bottom lanes, 168 CS, 207, Trinity Force, Triple Doran's Blade, plus the Berserker's Greaves and Vampiric Scepter. For Graves, 0-1-1, 30 CS behind, Triple Doran's Blade, and a pickaxe.
And a pickaxe indeed, and Moma is getting stronger and stronger and stronger. 364 AP, like you say, that death cap. Ward's going out now, starting to position for the Baron. And they are in a very strong position. That's going to be a free dragon fought against our authorities. I don't think SK can even remotely contest that one at the moment. Yellowstar is so strong, just sitting at the back every time there's a big team fight with that Trinity Force hammering away with that ulti. And that will be a very easy dragon. I don't think the blue buff is due soon, but they will take this bottom turret. That's going to take it to 2-1 in terms of turrets. So it's actually not been that many turrets engaged. This is like a complete reversal to most of the American matches. They'll hammer away to just systematically taking away those turrets. The European teams just seem to go a little bit overly aggressive, I guess you could say, and it's all about the kills and the fights at the moment. Kevin has pushed on towards that top turret, continuing to farm away, and that's what he needs to do. Manbear Pig needs to get fed, and he's not having too much fun of it at the moment. But if we just look at the vision, you can see that SK are hurting a little. They have got that one ward in the back. That's going to get taken out by Unrated, but in terms of against all authorities, they have much better vision. Bottom lane now getting pushed as well. Corki's going to slowly work his way around. Can they manage to pick anyone off while this happens, though? Or will they just dive them on the turret? And that's what they're going to do. Nif had to use his flash jet, and Candy Panda tries to dash away. And, well, Shen eating a couple of tower hits, but he's not too worried about that. He's already nearly 4k hit points, 3,733, and wisely backs away. And meanwhile, you can see Against All Authority are pulling this Baron. Kevin, I think, is aware of that. You can see the ward was in the back there. Kevin's going to try to do something about this. Meanwhile, Yellowstar and the two AD carriers are back down there. They've had to peel away from it. They realised SK were reacting, and they've had to back away from that one. Wisely done by Against All Authorities, I believe.
Yeah, me too. That was a good move to come straight back away from that. Actually, we've got Yellowstar lurking in this bottom lane, waiting for Candy Panda to come a little bit further out. And again, in that fight, I think Nif would have gone down. Again, another perfect Howling Gale. We've seen it time after time after time without those Howling Gales, without actually the crescendos in match number 1 as well. I think SK would have been down and out by a few minutes earlier, let's say. So credit to Nif for managing to land those seemingly every single time. But I have to say, a 7k gold advantage currently lying with Against All Authority, looking very strong. Their AD carry yet to die. Top lane, well, that top lane is Shen, 405. Warmog, Sunfire Cape. How much HP has he got now? 3.8k health.
Mama's going to catch up to Drain at the top.
Drain is very, very dead.
Oh, wow, that was quick. And that was an instant suppression there. Mama doing that. Kind of like you do with Cassiopeia as well. You know, you just sit there in the bush and just go, boom, dead. Thanks a lot. And Yellowstar was in the right place. That might well trigger a Baron fight. You know what? I'm not too sure if SK can do a lot about it. You can see they put the ward down. Candy Panda's having to make his way up the river, but he's way out of position, and that Baron is going to go down very quickly. Ocelot is there. They don't have to drain, so they can't get the smite in. So immediately they don't really have anything that can steal, unless Ocelot gets incredibly lucky with a poison which he throws in there. But you can see they're actually going to dive on towards Ocelot. Can he manage to knock him off? Then Leona goes dashing through, has used his ulti. Ocelot has cleansed it and flashed away from that. Meanwhile, they're going to catch Moma out down the back there, working out very nicely for SK here. They're going to dive on towards Soaz now. Probably the last target they should go for, but they have managed to get the kill. SK turned in this one very, very well, and that has turned in their favour. I've no idea how they managed to get it. They lunged on towards everything at Ocelot, and it's just gone so wrong for Against All Authority. They can steal Baron here. They could take that away. You can see Corky and Leone, they're like hanging around. What do we do? Well, should we go for this one? Do we hang around? Will we manage to get caught out? And they are going to get caught out. They've got dive towards N-Rated. N-Rated using everything he can to stun them up. You can see Yellowstar trying to hit on towards Ocelot there. Kevin's trying to get that stun on. Will they manage to get him down? A heal used by Yellowstar there. They're going to have to back away from them. It's done enough maybe to stop them taking Baron, but you can see SK immediately return into it. The Drain is now up, and I think this could be a Baron for SK. This could be the turning point for SK here.
And I think the real big thing in that fight was actually the ultimate that came across from Ocelot. It really hit every single one of them. Howling Gale even went in there afterwards as well, and I think by the time that they were able to do anything, there was not much left to do apart from maybe run away for Against All Authority. We did see Linak trying his damn best to get away, but that didn't work out. They didn't lose everyone though. Still Yellowstar and N-Rated, as you said, did survive that one. But Baron is now with SK Gaming, and I wonder what Against All Authority are going to do. They're actually pushing at this point. But I feel they need to be very, very careful here, because we've just seen if a good ulti comes across from Ocelot, how different these fights can be.
Yeah, and you can see Candy Panda's like, I just want a little bit more gold to go get my Infinity Edge. That's all I want. And every time he went around there, Yellowstar was there, or Maokai was there. It's just like, really? Come on. I just need a bit of gold. And you can see he's giving the shout out to the Drain. He's like, no, really? I need the little bit of farm to get the Infinity Edge, because the Infinity Edge on Candy Panda would make a big difference. So he's going to pick up this wave, and we're going to see him going back and buying. Meanwhile, Ocelot has also been back and buy. You can see he's got that Rylers now along with the Blasting One. So suddenly, Ocelot is a bit more stronger. However, we have got a double Shirelia's Reverie. Meanwhile, on Against All Authorities, you can see that BF sword along with on the Yellowstar as well. So let's not count them out yet. They are still incredibly strong. Sunfire Cape as well on Shen. Shen now up to, well, he's ticking away, 3,800 hit points. But that was all about Momo being caught out of position. Kevin managed to land shot to him very quickly. And while everybody was concentrating on Ocelot, it was like, I'm killing your AP carry. And I probably think Momo would have had a few choice German words after that.
That some of his teammates wouldn't have understood.
Yeah.
Who were possibly at fault as well, because they were the ones that actually instigated it as well. But still, Against All Authority, they're holding their own in this lane. Let's not forget, they've only lost one turret so far, meanwhile taking down all three of the outer turrets of SK Gaming. The question is now, at what point do they hold? Are they going to just try and hold this middle turret? Is it safe for them to be around there? I mean, all five, will SK fancy their chances to dive in and go for this fight? Actually, Kevin, currently Quicksilver Sash finished, Warden's Mail is finished in there as well. And how many Quicksilver Sashes do we have now? Okay,
well, Shirelia's Reverie was
burned
there. Maokai having to use Shirelia's Reverie to get away from that one. He saw the danger coming from Kevin, had to back away straight away. They're going to go up, actually, I tell you what, this is dangerous. They're going to take the Dragon. They need to be careful that Against All Authorities don't pile on forward, though. But I wouldn't fancy it with a Baroned up SK coming out from the side. Yeah, and Against All Authority backing away from that one, but it has prevented them taking Dragon, which even at this stage is that little bit extra gold to pull it back towards it. You can see there's still a 5k gold advantage, and 6 kill gold kill difference. I'll get my words out eventually. It's 3-1 in turrets. They want to catch someone out, but Against All Authorities are not giving them any chance. They're just not giving any free targets like SK had done early on. And the owner, you know what? If he manages to catch someone again, I'll be amazed, because SK, surely they have to learn from that one. You can see Kevin's the one that's trying to initiate as much as possible, but without that Shirelia's Reverie, they haven't quite got the speed to burst in. They will possibly tank this turret down. You can see they're chasing on towards Linak there. Can they get in towards the blue buff? No, they're not. Momo's going to take that one away, and immediately they're going to have to turn back away. Soaz had got slightly caught out with the slow, but Ocelot is going to back away, and this Baron buff is just ticking down. You can see there's about 30 seconds left on it. They're not going to use it as much of an advantage here.
Yeah, and that's credit to Against All Authority, actually, because then all it becomes is extra gold, actually. And they're still 4k behind in extra gold. So Against All Authority, they can be happy not to really have lost anything from this one, not to be losing any kills, and to still technically be in the lead. Let's not forget Corky now 3-0-7. Leona's not died yet. Shen, he's died just once. But over on the other team, Graves, their AD carry, only got the 1 kill. Now finally has built up that Infinity Edge. 4-3-3 on the Cassiopeia. Does have Riley's finished, but again, it's come later on in the game, which has made Ocelot less effective, because she really had to go for that Quicksilver Sash early on to stay away and safe from Malzahar. Frozen Heart has also been completed now on Maokai. And against all authority, know that Baron buff has run out, and they're like, okay, now we can start to push again. Now we can be a bit more aggressive and safely take fights even.
But the difference will be how much of SK built up from that. That little bit of gold they got, that Baron gold, the kills, and it has given them an advantage. You can see Infinity Edge and Zeal now on Graves, so Candy Panda's going to be hurting in those team fights. Bloodthirst, though, is completed by Corky. Also, Ramdian's Omen now completed by Kevin, so Kevin's going to be the one that's going to be initiating as much as they can for SK. I'm not too sure how close he's going to go, though, with a double Shirelia's Reverie on against all authorities. He's going to be trying too much, and Soaz is actually looking like he was going to launch into that, but again, they're just throwing the presents out, giving those saplings, and Linak doesn't have any Oracle to worry about now. He's got himself that Frozen Heart as well, so he's very tanky. So who are they going to try and initiate on? Well, obviously they want to get on towards MoMA or Yellow Star, but I don't think they're going to be free targets. And Ocelot's ulti is going to be so heavily weighted, he has to land it at the perfect time. You can see he keeps throwing out that slow. I'm not too sure they quite have the poke. They are. Look, you can see Soaz going in, just getting a hit on that tower every single time. It's just slowly chipping away at it.
That's the first time today. I'm glad I heard it though. So against Authority, they have decided to back away. Actually, Malzahar, if we look over to him, he's built up his AP quite nicely now. They need to be careful. They can't fight and Corky off to the side. But Malzahar up to 425 AP, which means his null zone is actually now doing 12% of the max health per second. And with the suppression on there, you don't live very long when Malzahar manages to land that combo on you. Ocelot, in the meantime, is up to 212, so that just shows you the big difference in there. Obviously, the damage is over a longer period of time as well from Ocelot. He just needs to keep himself alive and kicking. Soaz is now up to 3.9k gold. He must be sitting on a fair chunk of gold, actually, 1,500. Not so bad. Well, that Warmog's finished up earlier on has kept Soaz very, very healthy throughout the course of this game. And we're going to go back into a bit of farm time, actually. Red buff is available for against all authority. Baron should be up, I'd imagine, within the next 30 to 40 seconds, maybe.
Yeah,
and I wonder
Cassiopeia.
what the plan is. Aimrated is actually going to just check if there are any wards down in there and clear that out just in time.
So Cassiopeia's just got that needlessly large rod. It's starting to slowly catch up now. 4-3-3 compared to Moma's 4-4-4. Moma obviously had the early feed, but becomes a little less useful. Will manage to suppress someone, but it has been caught out every time. Every time he's gone for that suppress, he's been caught out with a Howling Gale, just interrupted it instantly. 533 ability power, though. There's nothing to be sniffed at. Meanwhile, Ocelot is chasing it at 321. They both have brilliant spots on, of course. And N-Rated hasn't been able to get an initiate. It's really been Kevin that's been looking for the initiation early on. Linux keeps throwing those saplings out. They're not doing a great deal, but, you know, it's damage at the end of the day. The difference is for Against Our Authority, you know, Soaz can just go down the bottom. He can continue farming while Against Our Authority just bait them. So they have a problem with the split push. It's exactly like Curse had against Counter Logic Gaming earlier today. And it's just a case of... The problem here is either team know. If they lose this engage, chances are it could be the game. So for SK, it would mean, great, we're going to get a 1-1. For Against All Authorities, it means we're in the semi-finals, which is a big step for them. So they're very cautious of this one. The last thing Against All Authorities want is a second game. The last thing SK want to do is go out of this tournament in the quarterfinals. Shen completely pushing this bottom lane, and that's going to cause a problem for him. You can see immediately Candy Panda's going to be forced to go across there soon. The second he shows himself, they realise it. They're going to have to keep those wards in that Baron area. Corky has shown himself at the top. Can they manage to split off? They're going to try and get on towards Linak there, but he's going to back away. Plenty of time. Don't forget, they've still got 2 Shirelia's Reverie, not a single Shirelia's so far. And you can see Janus trying to build up to it, but not there. Will SK try and pull the Baron here? They have cleared out wards. You can see there's a ward in the back there. We look at the vision.
Shen.
Oh, and they're going to go straight in there. They have caught themselves out. Shen down the bottom, that's fine. He can ulti in when he needs to. And SK, well, they're going to have to peel off. They didn't catch anyone out though, Joe.
No, not catching anyone out, and the ward's going down left, right and centre. Actually, there's no oracles with SK right now. And we are seeing Against All Authority starting to walk in there. N-Rated is going to try and get right in, actually use his flash to get the engage off. Ocelot going to be the target first of all, blown away there actually. And well, Ocelot is being focused by Soaz. Meanwhile, down in the bottom of the action, Deaddrain goes down as well. Kevin with his turtle shield on is alive as per usual actually, but they're continuing to knock away him. Yellowstone now needs to be a little bit careful. Kevin with that lifesteal getting helped out a lot, but finally goes down. That man there, Pig, and how annoying he can be.
Yeah.
And Against All Authority are going to go in. That was a 3-for-1. Momo was the one that went down. Ocelot survived with literally nothing, I think. Is currently sitting on 400 HP. Baron is being started. Candy Panda's full HP, but will they be able to do enough in this situation? That's what I'm not sure of, especially when Soaz is at full HP. Ocelot, again, he has to keep harass up here. He can't really afford to give away a free Baron, but is it worth to die?
And you know what? It's actually causing problems for him. The poison keeps going down. Oh, Ocelot caught out there. Candy Panda also caught out. Yellowstar's going to force them both away. He will go in towards Ocelot. Yellowstar will go down to Candy Panda. They will just about finish off the Baron. Oh, Sapling goes across. Leona tries to dive across to him. And the Baron will finally be finished off eventually by Against All Authority. But Nif is now back in there. He's going to try and put a Howling Gale across. Does not want to get caught out by Soaz. Baron's still not finished. They're trying to hang on, I believe, for someone to respawn. Looking across. Oh, steal from SK. Candy Panda gets back in, steals in. That's going to go badly wrong for Against All Authorities. Losing out there. Very well played. Against All Authorities were trying their best to delay it for Moment to respawn. And as he gets up there, they left it too late. Candy Panda picks up another kill. So Candy Panda surviving in that. And what an excellent steal. That has made the game wide open again. Despite the fact, look at the gold. It's only 1k difference now. 38 minutes into this one. 18-12 doesn't make a difference. 3-1 towers. They have the Baron. And I believe, other than Cassiopeia, everybody picked that up. Oh, Kevin didn't quite get it.
Yeah, Kevin not quite, and you know, that's unfortunate actually for Udi. He's already proving to be so ridiculously strong. Does have the Phage built up there, and this time SK will actually utilize this Baron a little bit more. Dragon is there and available. And they're going to drop back for that one and should bring the gold actually pretty much bang even by the time they've done this Dragon. So SK, they were looking like they were possibly down and out. They played it safe, they played it passive, and they didn't make any silly mistakes. And they've got themselves right back into this game and made it wide open for anyone's taking still.
Yeah, and like you say, completely even gold now. Just 100 between them, which is pretty impressive 40 minutes into a match. Voidstar has been completed by Momo. Cassiopeia did a great job, Ocelot, to hang on in there, and he now got to that Rabadon death cap. He's starting to get scary. 396 ability power. Momo, like you said, has been focused early on, and rightly so. 526 ability power, taking him out of the game very quickly, though, has been a bit of a problem. Linux starting to struggle to force his authority down. He's been picked off pretty quick, despite the fact he's actually built very tanky. Soaz, though, has now got 4,200 hit points. That Mars Impaler is going to hurt. It's going to be a lot of damage coming out from that across the board. You can see Kevin will pick up the red buff. Will he give it across to Graves? I don't believe he will. He'll just take it for himself. Lee Sin's going to farm up the top. And now SK, will they do anything about this Baron? They had it last time. They didn't. Really weren't in the position to do a great deal about it either. Ocelot doesn't have it, which is going to be a problem for him, but Candy Panda is looking very strong. Phantom Dancer, Quicksilver Sash, and Infinity Edge. So that's four Quicksilver Sashes, sorry, for SK. They're so worried about that Malefic Vigilance, sorry, the Suppress, sorry, from Momo that they actually don't need to worry about. N-rated also, of course, could get in there. You could get the taunt from Shen, so there's so much they can just escape straight over it now. So SK have built up towards it. So now I would say SK are actually probably in a stronger position because they've already prepared for a defense mechanism against the team fights.
Yeah, the Quicksilver Sashes across the board. I mean, Jana the only one without one, and to be honest, her money could be a little bit better spent. And we are going to see Against All Authority go for the push. SKR down on the bottom side of the map. The ping to fall back has just gone down there. Ocelot needs to be careful. So took a bit of damage from the tower, and that will force SK back. And you know what? What Against All Authority are doing here is actually buying themselves a lot of time as well. They've seen SK going down. Okay, we push middle. SK are now coming back. and against Authority go somewhere else. And they're just going to try and run rings around them until this Baron buff is out. It's actually less than a quarter still remaining on it.
Yeah, and SK being clever here. They're pushing mid. They realise that they've actually gone north, and suddenly they're like, "Roll, fine, that's an open inner turret." Kevin can tank that one up, no problem at all. Shield goes across him, turtle shield as well. That will be the inner turret going down. Meanwhile, the rest of Against Authority having to back away. So they've basically done exactly what they tried to force SK to do. And Against Authorities have had to teleport back and defend that turret. SK are going to switch it up and steal away all the resources. You can see them immediately. Clairvoyance goes down. They're going to steal off that blue buff. Red buff is not available. And Against Authorities, will they push up mid? That will be very ballsy play from them. Do they feel they have the strength in a team fight? I'm not too sure between these two teams. It's very, very even. And you can see Momas actually might get caught out here. Had to flash away from it. Meanwhile, Kevin actually got caught out of position. Not too worried about that one. You can see Kevin actually going in towards Moma. Moma's been suppressed. Kevin taken down very low. Linak actually tried to go straight into him. Moma's going to be taken very low as well. To Drayan trying to get out of it, but the damage is coming out from Against Authorities here. SK is slowly backing away. N-rated taken low. Ocelot didn't manage to catch the ulti in the right place, so Soaz is moving to defend on towards Yellow Star. He will back away from that one. Finally, Soaz is in position. They can't kill the man. He's got too much hit points. Linak is the target. Candy Panda will finally focus on him. Soaz is eventually going to go down. Ocelot will pick up a kill as well. Soaz still not dead. Will finally got caught by a Howling Go. Candy Panda will eventually get the kill. Now we move down towards the bottom. You can see Moma and N-rated also very low. Ocelot is going to continue pushing through. Finally, we're going to see SK making a bit of a dent in the Against Authorities base.
And I understand half why they went for Kevin there first.
Yeah.
You know, he was in and amongst it all, and it kind of made sense since the rest of SK weren't there. But if they'd not have blown pretty much everything on Kevin, that fight could have been a little bit different.
And SK, all they've done is taken a tower and backed away because, well, rightly so, the rest of Against Authorities are back up, and SK were a little bit low on mana. We're a little bit low on health as well, so wisely backing away, but that's an open inhibitor now that they want to deal with. Candy Panda's going to immediately zip round, clear out this bottom turret, which is being pushed by the minions. A pretty big stack. I think he's just had the call. No, he hasn't. He's going to continue picking that up and say, yeah, Kevin runs all the way down there and goes, great, I got one. Thanks for that, Candy Panda. But you can see Yellow Star and N-rated, they wanted to pick up a cheeky kill there. They've warded up the blue. And this is still a very, very open game between these. 19-14, the gold advantage for the first time in SK's favour, but it's still not over. It's nowhere near over yet.
Nowhere near over. Actually, we could end up seeing an hour-long game here. It's one of those that's going back and forth the whole time. Negatron Cloak just being picked up there by Corky. Actually, the Locket of the Iron Solari also finished now on Janet. Meanwhile, Wit's End is there, plus that Randuin Zone, plus the Fade from earlier on Kevin. And Will of the Ancients finished as well on Cassiopeia. So, you know, SK, despite what I'd say being behind pretty much the whole game in terms of their money and then their items, have really brought it back in their favour, and they've played solidly. Actually, it's always hard when you're, you know, it's hard enough to come back when you're 1-0 down in games, but to come back mid-game, actually, in League of Legends is a very, very tough thing to do. And all credit to SK for showing the spirit to keep themselves, you know, to keep their heads up at this point of it. Yeah,
and just look at the AD carries now. So, considering how pushed Candy Panda was, he's now 1,500 gold ahead of Corky. That's a big difference. He's got that Infinity Edge, Last Whisper, Phantom Dancer. He's pretty much got the ideal build, along with that Quicksilver Sash, so he can escape the damage, and that's why he's 4-1-5. And it is the AD carries that are doing brilliantly here, because 6-1-9 for Corky. Corky started off so well, but he has kind of fell behind. And, you know, SK just prepared for a long game upfield. You know, whether it was a case of part of their strategy, it'd be interesting to see with the question against them, whether this was their strategy to go for the long game. I'm not too sure if it probably was. Nobody wants to go for a long game. They want to finish things fast, but it wasn't really working out. And with those Quicksilver Sashes so early on, they have managed to work towards it. And now Ocelot's actually pretty scary as well, with 538 ability power. And they are going to go for Baron. And you can see immediate reaction from Against All Authorities. They have got that single ward, and they're going to get caught out with that Howling Gale. Will it be enough, though? They're going to dive on towards Linak. Linak completely got out of position because Baron's already been picked up. Linak will go down very quickly if he's targeted. But the question is, they've gone towards Ocelot. Ocelot's had to cleanse away from that one. Yellow Star is being picked on by Candy Panda. Candy Panda had been drawn out there, but Ocelot is going to survive. Linak is also going to get taken down by Ocelot. Meanwhile, you can see that N-rated is slowly being drawn out. They were just kiting him around. And would you believe it? happy. That's a 4-0 engage, and SK are going to drive it home into the base. 19-18. They've been behind on kills throughout this game, Joe. Now they have that 7k gold advantage. It's looking like we're going to have a third game.
Incredible, incredible play from SK. As we said, behind the whole time. They've picked up 3 out of 3 Barons, actually. The first one, which they didn't really utilize. Yeah, the steal was in there, and it's just a overall great play that they've had. They maybe want to finish off Soaz, or at least Ocelot wants to finish off Soaz, but they are going to focus in, of course, on that Nexus. And SK pick up game number 2. We're going into a third and final matchup, and look at Ocelot. He's pumped up for this.
It shows what it means to them. They are very pumped up. They've been fired up. You know, they've got some great team morale. We talked about it early on, you know, how much morale between these teams. They seem to have a cohesion that seems to work. So now we're 1-1, best of 3. Finally, we're going to get that third game. That's what we like to see. But against the authorities, are going to feel a little aggrieved because they had that one in the bag for a while and they kind of threw it away with that Baron. They were just holding out. They were like, Mama, once you spawn, we'll finish it off. And they were just hanging around. Candy Panda's like, yoink.
And you know, one thing we've always said when you face Candy Panda, even if you're actually beating him in the lane, when the game starts to develop, you have to keep tabs on him, because what he does is farm really well. And if we look down the, just to take a peek at the post-game screen, he's actually 335 at the end of that game. Considering he was behind by a long way, the kills were all stacked towards Corki. Everything was Corki. A great bit of spirit shown, and he just did what he did best, and that's get, despite being behind, back into the lane and farm it as much as you can. And now we're going to see how good the spirit of Against All Authority is, and whether they can come back from, you know, a game where I think they feel they should have won.
You know, that's the first time I've ever seen Yellowstar really annoyed. He didn't look happy there, and rightly so, because he had a fantastic score, 6-2-9. He only died at the end there. They had it in the bag, and they're going to feel they threw it. The question is, can they pick themselves up from it? Soaz looks a little aggrieved as well. They're not. They are frustrated faces. They're thinking, we had this one. And, you know, they've got to be careful that doesn't affect them, their morale, their confidence, because you saw SK, they're up high-fiving, they're loving it. They were so excited for it, but they're going to have to pick themselves up from this one. We're going to go to a commercial break, ladies and gentlemen. Don't forget to keep tuning in. We're going to have a third and final game between these two. This is the quarterfinals to see who will be facing Dignitas in the semi-finals. It's going to be a good one.
Welcome to the League of Legends Champion Spotlight, featuring Nautilus, the Titan of the Depths. Nautilus is a beefy melee tank, adept at disrupting enemies, initiating fights, and growing as a damage threat to all his opponents. Additionally, his ability to jungle or fight in a variety of lanes makes him an excellent addition to any team. Nautilus's passive is Staggering Blow. Nautilus's basic attacks deal bonus damage and briefly root his target in place. Staggering Blow can only affect a single champion once every few seconds, but Nautilus can switch targets to hit multiple enemies in succession. Dredgeline sends out a skill shot nuke that stops in the first enemy or terrain it hits. Upon hitting an enemy, it deals damage while both his target and Nautilus are pulled together. If Nautilus hits terrain instead, he is pulled to that location and the cooldown is much lower. Dredgeline functions as a great initiation, mobility, and escape tool. Thankfully, it fills these roles quite well even with only 1 point, so I take a rank in Dredgeline early, but max it last. Titan's Wrath places a damage-blocking shield on Nautilus for a few seconds. While the shield holds, Nautilus's basic attacks apply a large damage over time effect to his target and all surrounding enemies. Titan's Wrath deals the most damage of any of Nautilus's abilities as long as it holds, making him extremely scary if ignored. Because of this damage, I take it at level 1 when jungling, make sure to take a second point early, and consider maxing it somewhere between levels 9 and 13. Riptide explodes the area around Nautilus in a growing ring, damaging and slowing enemies caught in these explosions. Enemies can be hit multiple times by these explosions, but take reduced damage by the additional hits. The use of Riptide is great to damage and prevent the retreat of running enemies, especially because they'll hit the expanding explosions as they run. As his primary disruption tool, I take a point early and consider maxing it somewhere between levels 9 and 13. Nautilus's ultimate is Depth Charge. Nautilus fires a shockwave that chases the targeted enemy. Any enemies hit by the shockwave as it travels are damaged and knocked up. Once the shockwave reaches its intended target, he takes even more damage and is also stunned. Generally, Nautilus will want to aim at a target far in the back to damage and disrupt the most enemies possible. As with all ultimates, I rank it up at level 6, 11, and 16. Nautilus is an exceptional ganking jungler, meaning that you should always look for lanes that you can gank. Seeing Sona and Caitlyn overextended, I push into bot lane. If you can help it, save Dredgeline, so I walk up and tag Sona with Riptide, Titan's Wrath, and Staggering Blow. Now I tag Caitlyn with Dredgeline into Staggering Blow. She's forced to flash if she doesn't want to tank Riptide. Now in turret range, I leave her and wait in the brush in case there are counterattacks. If your opponents see you coming and run, it's okay to lead with Dredgeline. I head in and hit Riptide. I charge after them and tag Caitlyn with Staggering Blow, allowing us to kill her as I flash away from the turret. For the second kill, I wander in to tank one more turret shot and then run into the brush to recall. This gives Graves enough time to take down Sona before falling, and we come out ahead 2-1. Generally, after finishing Philosopher's Stone, you should be able to rely on it for mana regeneration. Once the Ancient Golem respawns, ping and call over a teammate to grab this buff. Keep track of how much damage it's taking, and once you've gotten it low enough, take a step back, stop attacking, and receive endless praise from your teammate. One of the best traits of Dredgeline is if you're aiming for a champion against a wall, you're guaranteed to pull yourself forward even if you miss. I head to gank Sona, but she dodges Dredgeline with Flash. Landing Depth Charge into Staggering Blow, we pick up a quick kill on Sona before retreating out of turret range. In teamfights, do everything you can to focus on squishy enemies near the back. I notice I can just barely tag Caitlyn with Dredgeline, which gives our Ziggs just enough space to land his combo, taking her down with Ignite. I pop Shurelia's Reverie to get him back to safety and notice the enemy Ziggs now available. I turn to cast Depth Charge and dive straight for him. Titan's Wrath keeps me safe as I hit Riptide on every single enemy, kill Ziggs, and flash to safety. Between the damage and disruption from Riptide while tanking all the damage from our opponents, my team also cleans up 2 more. Use Dredgeline's ability to hook terrain with a reduced cooldown to chase running champions. Here a running Cho'Gath is sure to make it away, but I Dredgeline to the turret, dodge Rupture, walk past all the minions, and then tag Cho'Gath. An immediate Riptide and a Staggering Blow gives my team just enough time to chase him down and pick up the ace. In Dominion, Nautilus performs excellently with his team. Landing a disruptive Dredgeline picks up the kill on Ezreal. And then as Lee Sin takes on Jax, I head up to stop Garen and Dr. Mundo from assisting with Riptide. I head in to help kill Jax and then stop Garen in his tracks with Staggering Blow. Once they actually turn to fight me, I tank for a little while and then use the terrain to easily land a Dredgeline and pick up a health relic. The Crystal Scar's close quarters can also force you to take your time. Here as we chase Dr. Mundo by the refinery, I have to wait to clear the wall before tagging him with Dredgeline. This holds him in place long enough for us to pick up the kill and continue our offense. For runes, I take Armor Penetration Marks, Armor Seals, Magic Resist per level Glyphs, and Gold Generation Quintessences. In Dominion, sub out the Gold Generation Quintessences for movement speed. The goal here is to get very tanky while also dealing strong early game damage through Staggering Blow. My masteries are 0, 21, 9, focusing on being as tanky as possible, plus movement speed and cooldown reduction. If jungling, you want to make sure to grab reductions to minion damage and bladed armor in defense, plus increased neutral buff duration in utility. For summoner spells, Smite and Flash are great for jungling. When not jungling, sub out Smite for heal. In Classic, I want tankiness and cooldown reduction. I take Cloth Armor and 5 health potions to jungle. I rush Philosopher's Stone and Heart of Gold for extra gold income. Grab Ninja Tabi or Mercury Treads as required and expand to Aegis of the Legion and Shirelia's Reverie. Counter your opposition with items like Frozen Heart, Force of Nature, and Locket of the Iron Solari. In Dominion, you'll have very similar build goals. Take upgraded boots as quickly as possible and add in similar items. Shirelia's Reverie, Frozen Heart, Force of Nature, Frozen Mallet, and Locket of the Iron Solari. Thanks for tuning in to the Nautilus Champion Spotlight. Please subscribe to the Riot Games YouTube channel above, and don't forget to thumbs us up just below the video.
So welcome back to the Intel Extreme Masters World Championship Day 3 here at the CB in Hanover. We've just seen 2 great games. Game number 2 in particular was a very, very crazy one, let's call it that. We're going to move into now game number 3, the third and final matchup of this best of 3. The team that wins this one will go through into the semi-final to take on Team Dignitas.
Yeah, and what a game, really. I mean, you can see against all authorities, they look a little annoyed. They really do look a little bit frustrated there. Xenon just hanging behind them, keeping his eye on proceedings there. But yeah, I mean, SK are going to be super confident after that. But you've got to remember, they were losing the lane phase again. It was only a case of they started to do a little bit of invade. Remember that first blue invade where they lost quite heavily, actually? They lost out, and Ocelot came back in, and it's like, no, and then just died off, and he should have gone. There's a few still mistakes in there that they have to cover over. And you know, against our authorities, they've played the lane phase brilliantly, and it was only really their own mistake on Baron where they threw it. So effectively, it's going to hurt them. And you can see Ocelot, so you can see him there. He's already typed on screen, SK ready, let's go. But against our authorities, they don't even have all the players in there yet. So Linak is not ready, apparently. So he looks like a man possessed right now. And he got to play Cassiopeia. It wasn't great, but I say that, it was his ulti that turned it on the Baron fight. Yeah, that Baron fight where they managed to get in there to steal, and that was a strange fight because, you know, against all authority they were hitting away at Baron. I actually had I was clicked on Baron watching its health points go down. They weren't really going down. That was the problem there. They didn't have enough damage on it. Well, they were holding it to get it for the team. To wait for the team to come back, but you know, they went through, then Ocelot was like, what up, ulti, across the entire, across the whole guy, and then they came around the other side with SK, and, you know, just a really, really great turnaround, and that's what we like to see in games, you know, ones that look like they almost definitely are for one team, and then the others show some great bit of composure and come back into it. You can see that against all authority, almost ready to go. Linak is missing. But should be here in 1 minute. Apparently he's just been put in the game by Soaz. I was like, yeah, he just joined the game, but Soaz was leaned over, put him in game. But Yellow Star, as you said, great performance. The camera shot that we saw of him after that game, I've never seen Yellow Star looking annoyed. He still looks annoyed, doesn't he? Yeah. He was 6-1-7 in that game, and he's like, why did we lose this? And you can feel that. You think, I'm the carry, I'm carrying, why have we just lost this game? It's just, he's like, no fault on my own. But actually, as I say that, he actually got caught in the last sort of fight. It was Kevin managed to beeline straight for him, and that was Kevin's job. Now, it's going to be interesting to see what sort of initiate both teams use for this one, because SK were a little bit lacking with the initiation, which is why it sort of dragged on a little bit longer. Once they got that advantage, they couldn't push it home because they were going against a team that got double Shirelia's Reverie. So as soon as they went in for it, they were just like, nah, you're not catching us. And Kevin was like, he had to start using the pincer movement, which we say is so bad. Well, it's all right when you're very, very tanky. It's going to be such a hard one to call, Joe. at the moment, you've got to think of SK are by far the confidence, and all the body language I'm seeing from Against All Authority here is we're really annoyed and frustrated with this. Whether that's going to affect them in the gameplay, I'm not too sure, or whether it's going to just make them focus more.
Yeah, there's not a smile on any of the 5 faces there for Against All Authority. We saw, though, how pumped up Ocelot was after that win, and rightly so, to be honest. That was a game that looked like it was slipping away from them. Ocelot types again, SK ready, as Yellow Star actually drops out during Champions League. But we are pretty close to getting into the picks and bans. And I think we could even... We possibly have time to talk about Big Ben.
Oh, Big Ben, yeah. So Big Ben, for those that are listening, the camera guys were watching the first day and they're like, what is this Big Ben?
Yeah, we've been trying to explain League of Legends, and okay, so we've got one question. What's Big Ben? We're like,
what?
Big clock in London.
Yes.
He's like, no, League of Legends. We're like, don't know.
There is no
He's
Big
like,
Ben, yeah. Oh, picks and bans. Yeah,
Big
suddenly
Ben.
sank on us. So yeah, and that initially, it shows we are at a big trade show. There's a lot of people that haven't played League of Legends, so they might not understand exactly what the picks and bans are. And really, it's all about you have 93 champions. You can see this great big pool in front of us, just above my head. It's a great big pool of champions. There's 93 of them in there to choose from, and they have to ban out 3 each side and then pick 5 each side. That's a very hard thing to do with that many available, but there is generally a few that will always be used, like a rotation of 20 or so heroes that will pretty much be used in every single game. Occasionally we'll see some crazy ones out there. We're seeing the bans right now coming in. You can see Aurelia and Morgana have been banned out by Against All Authority, and Shen actually banned out by Against All Authority. They didn't have first pick, so they feel they don't want that one. Karthus and Mundo, though, have been banned out by SK, which means Cassiopeia is possibly available again. Whether they're going to go for it this time, I'm not too sure.
Yeah, me either, and I'm quite surprised that Against All Authority have banned out Shen there. Just judging by the fact that he is so strong, we've seen how good Soaz can play him. Leave him open and let SK ban him, actually, or even take him straight off the bat. But it's going to be Galio. We saw Galio banned in the last game by SK, and insta-lock in there Udia, who, as I said at the start of the first game, he's been so good. He's been so strong. He always is, if he gets fed nicely, is actually quite unstoppable.
He's quite unstoppable, yeah, and he's got that nasty stun, and he will stick to you. That's what they were talking about earlier with CLG. They had a sticky team. He is one of those sticky bats that you just can't
get away
escape.
from him.
But obviously Mundo was the other one. Mundo got banned out in this one. So SK with their first picks, I would guess they're going to go with a support, possibly Janna, I would guess, would almost be a certain. The question is, who will they go with it? Will they pick the AD carry early on? Will they go with maybe the jungler, which I would suspect they've got pretty much all the junglers available to them. Shyvana is in there, remember, as well. They are going to go with Janna, so that's going to be the first pick. Will it be a Shyvana in the jungle, or will Kevin go with his top lane? It is going to be a Shyvana.
Yeah, that's not a surprise for me either, to see Shyvana come straight into it. When generally, I guess, 99% of games, if she's not banned, she's picked.
Yes.
At least since Kiev. That's for sure. But yeah, that's the start for this one. Janna again actually was banned out in the first game. Was Janna? I think the only support that we've seen banned so far in this best of 3. Now let's see what Against All Authority go for next. They've got Udia, so possible jungler, possible top lane from that one again. Also Shyvana in the similar situation, so they could change their team comp ever so slightly depending on what their opponents go for. But Against All Authority not showing their hand just yet, discussing, I guess, what they're going to go for.
Yeah, and this is such an important part of the game. I cannot stress how important picks and bans are. For example, we'll go back to Kiev with SK Gaming. The Insta-lock LeBlanc basically lost SK the game against Team Solar Mid, which meant they had to face Moscow 5, and then that was the rest was history. They got stomped. Leona Corki again picked up, so they're feeling it's strong. And you know what? They've won the lane in the last 2 games in that bottom lane. So Leona Corki is definitely a good thing to go with. I think Yellow Star's going to be on a mission in this one. Whether he's going to go over-aggressive now, but N-Rated was brilliant in his initiates earlier on. He would caught out. Remember, he got that double kill on the support and the AD down actually in the middle area, wasn't it, at the bottom of the Wraiths? But he was brilliant with that. So I guess they're going to go with the AD carry and probably have to show their hand with their top laner. I think they're going to try and save their AP carry till last, though.
Well, we've got 10 seconds or so to lock in these next 2 champions. Will we see that AD carry coming there? Yep, certainly looks that way. And
wow.
Well, an identical bottom lane as the first game, which we mentioned at the end of the last one. Candy Panda got outplayed there, outfarmed in that bottom lane, but eventually caught, because that's what Candy Panda can do if you let him. And that's getting himself right back in there. Cassiopeia locked in, a big favourite for Ocelot, and it looks like we are going to be seeing Fizz and Kennen, the final two, in there for Against All Authority.
That's an interesting one. So Fizz, we've not seen in this tournament, I don't think yet. He's a very, very strong hero. I was wondering what they were going to pick against him there. And it's interesting, actually, someone mentioned it to me earlier when I was sat in the crowd watching COG. It's like, nobody's picking Cassidy in this tournament. He's not even been banned out, and he's been available, and people are not going near him. I don't know. I honestly had no answer. I don't know. I had no answer for it. And the last final pick is going to be Renekton up the top lane. So, wow, okay, we're going to have Shyvana in the jungle. We're going to have Udyr in the jungle. So it's going to be Renekton against Kennen in that top lane. Fizz versus Cassiopeia in the middle. And again, like you said, that Corki-Leona combo that's been working so well against that Janna Graves combo. So we're going to have to see how. Nif got caught out a couple of times, too often out for me, by N-rated. Yeah. Some fantastic initiates, but the jungle this time is going to work in a little bit with Dedrayan's favour. I think Shyvana is probably slightly quicker than Linak. Linak can be very quick on Udyr. I mean, don't get me wrong, Udyr is a very quick jungler. I'm not saying it's slow, but Shyvana is a very quick jungler. The question is, will he invade in the right places? We've not seen a great deal of invasion from him. Dedrayan seemed to me to he was happy on Lee Sin. He could get the ganks early on, and I think they kind of need to do that. Soaz is going to be very hard to pin down, though, at the top on Kennen.
Yeah, and actually Momo is going with Heal Ignite for this one on Fizz.
Okay, yeah.
Kennen,
that's fine. I mean, he doesn't need flash because he's got the playful trickster. He can just zip away. Yeah, no problem. That's all. So it makes perfect sense that he doesn't do that. It actually opens up a little bit more kills for him, really, I guess. So, Joe, what are we going to go with here? SK aAa, it is 1-1. It is a best of 3. This is for a place in the semi-finals versus Dignitas. Put your money on the line.
I don't know, honestly.
I couldn't call it.
I'm going to go with SK. I think the momentum that they've picked up in that last one, they showed such great spirit. The one thing I'm really concerned about for SK, though, is this bottom lane again. We saw so many times such great initiation, and to be honest, Janna doesn't stand a chance when Leona, lands in and moves in, and you've got Corki there as well. We saw, I think, 3 or 4 times already in this game, support is gone instantly.
Yeah, so it is gone. So we are going to be going into the game, ladies and gentlemen. Stay tuned. It is going to be the big one. It is the final match in the series in the quarterfinals. So let's have a look. It is the Intel Extreme Masters World Championships. $100,000 up for grabs in this. This is the quarterfinals. It is the final match in the best of 3. And, well, it is all square, 1-1. SK coming back brilliantly in the last game with a fantastic Baron fight win there. And they'll give you a quick roster rundown. For Against All Authorities, they are in the blue, and they will be on the left-hand side of the map, or the bottom half, whichever you'd like to call it. It is going to be in the top lane. Soaz will be on Kennen. So a double AP strat coming out here from Against All Authorities. And it's been one of those things that have been switching in and out between the tournament. Just keep an eye on Yellowstar. He's going to spot the entire SK team going down there. Did manage to avoid the poison net, but they have managed to catch wind of him. They're going to continue pushing, which means Against All Authorities realise their jungle is fully invaded. Will SK actually continue on for it? Anyway, let's go back to the teams. You can see that it is going to be N-rated on Leona. He's going to be partnered with Yellowstar down the bottom. That will be Corki. In the middle lane, it is going to be Momo here on Fizz, this weird-looking thing that you can see hopping around. Hasn't actually leveled up anything yet because he's trying to wait until the moment where he really needs to. Meanwhile, in the jungle, it will be Linak who is here. He is the Menbao Pig, also known as Udyr. For SK Gaming, it is going to be Nif and Candy Panda down the bottom. He will be on Janna Graves, just like we saw in the last game. Didn't work out too well for them, but they have managed to come back, and Candy Panda, he will farm his way to victory if you let him. Meanwhile, at the top lane, you can see is Renekton. That will be Kevin. In the middle, it is going to be Ocelot on Cassiopeia once again. Didn't go so well for him in the last match, but you know what? He was kind of out-farmed. and kind of, you know, captured down. It was locked down a little bit too often early on. Had to go for that Quicksilver sash, caused him problems. And meanwhile, Dedrain, who you can see taking away this blue buff, will be the final man, and he is on Shyvana, a very, very fast jungler. So, Joe, the lanes are set. Let's see how they're going to go.
Yeah, we saw Yellow Star and Enrated actually taking away Wraiths early on, so that will give a bit of an experience boost to Yellow Star right from the start. But we see SK already taking shots at the turret, and that's because they obviously came into that lane a little bit later on there. Enrated just trying to land the Zenith Blade, didn't quite work out. And they need to be careful with that one this game. Up at the top, we do have Soaz on Kennen against Kevin on Renekton. See how that one plays in, and surprise, surprise, we have Shyvana in the other side of the jungle. That is just typical Shyvana.
Perfect time in the Wolves just spawning, and he managed to get straight in there. I think the look, you can see Cassiopeia sat there just covering him off as well, so very nicely played. And Linak has just backed away there. There is that ward, remember, from SK, so they know exactly his position. They realise that Linak is down in that bottom half of the jungle, so which is why Dedrain chose to actually go aggressive as he passes past that ward, so they like pinging it away, immediately know his position. N-rated actually pretty low, but Candy Panda even lower. They've been forced to back away down that bottom half. N-rated obviously catching onto them there, and they're just trying to stand and bang with them. They have managed to put the ward in that brush that will give them a little bit of advantage. I have no idea how this top lane is going to go. Renekton is one of those heroes that can be hit and miss, and he's against Soaz, who's so hard to play against, and this time he's on Kennen. And Soaz actually kind of won out this lane the last few times. Down the bottom, you can see he's poking back and forward, Joe, but still very, very even early on.
Yeah, Candy Panda health potting his way back up to a safe level, but it's pretty low on mana, and again, N-rated is fairly decently regened as well, so Candy Panda has to watch out not to be caught out there. Yellow Star actually just taking some damage from that buckshot. Meanwhile, in middle, in terms of the CS early on, we can go through that Fizz 18 to the 16 of Cassiopeia. Obviously, Moma, real strong Fizz player. We saw in, I think it was the IPL 4 qualifiers actually that he played a Fizz. Either way, we do have Linak moving in. Kevin is already low. Will they be able to get away? Flash used to get the stun off. Kevin surely going to go down, and First Blood will once again go over to Soaz. We saw him with Wukong in game number 1. Those early First Bloods were real important. Actually, the whole golden rule of the tournament so far, if Kevin dies, then SK lose, wasn't proved to be correct in the last game. But if it's anything like true, then that's a great start for Against All Authority.
It is a great start, and you can see actually the jungle counter on from both of them. Linak's like, I'm going to take it away. And Dedrain comes straight down and smites. Actually, was it Linak smites it? I think I might have missed it there. But yeah, using that burnout, and they're quickly counter-invading each other as well. They know their positions, but as you mentioned, a quick kill, and the kill went through Soaz as well, which is just horrible for them. Immediately, once you start losing your lane, it's so hard to come against them, especially in a top lane, a solo lane where you're all on your own. You're effectively on an island, as Daniel likes to say, pretty much away from everyone else, and you just have to quickly go one-on-one. Candy Panda trying his best to force Yellow Star away from the experience here, and in the gold has actually dived towards him, cut out with a great Howling Gale, and Yellow Star will have to back away, and you can see immediately taken low, and Valkyrie leveled up early enough that he did manage to escape that one, so Candy Panda's going to try and drive it home forward. There's no health pots left for Yellow Star, so he's going to be under a little bit of pressure here. Candy Panda doesn't have health potions either, but it doesn't matter. He has got Jungler coming helping, and they have already started backing away from that one. Linux realised it, and he's going to teleport.
Yeah, Linak away, actually. Dedrain starting to work in here. He's just stuck himself a ward down in the jungle side of Against All Authority. Coming back into middle, Cassiopeia just gone home, and double Doran's ring is now in place. Moma is yet to actually return home. Kevin, after he died, did come back with a Doran's blade. But we'll see how Soaz goes up against him. We've got the double amp tone already finished. And he's going to continue to put down pressure. He's level 6 as well, so ulti is ready, and Kevin knows that he needs to be a little bit careful of that one. Linak is actually in the back of the pack, but the fact is I don't think from this position he'll be able to make much of a difference, and actually decides he's going to go away. Is he going to continue to try for the gank? No, seems that way. Oh, and a pink ward goes down, perfect position, and Kevin is once again blind for anything coming from that middle side.
Unrated at the moment, being pressured by Ocelot there. You can see he's been catching him with all the poisons. Ulti used here. Linux, Momo's gone straight in from him. You can see he's got Linak coming in support. Ocelot's had to use that flash up. The Ignite was already burned on him. Shyvana was in the right place, but yeah, just baiting him in there. Ocelot just standing there, hoping he went for it, but I don't think he was quite expecting an ulti straight in his face like that, and quickly had to escape out of it. Candy Panda, meanwhile, forcing Yellowstar to back away. Yellowstar, like you say, has been back and forth, got that double Doran's Blade, having to eat those potions already, and Candy Panda being a little bit more stronger, a little bit more bossy down the bottom. They realise that the blue buff is up now, and SK are going to try to push it home. This didn't work out so well for them in the last game. This is going to be an important fight.
Yeah, this is where they came unstuck in the last one. The thing this time, though, Moma is fairly low, and I guess it depends where Moma's actually going to stand to try and take this blue buff, and it is stolen away by Dedrian, and that is pure annoyance for SK. Moma actually portaling away. I was going to say that's a slightly dangerous position for him. Takes a couple of steps to the left, and we'll be fine with that one. Meanwhile, we have got N-Rated back into this bottom lane. There's a couple of shots more going in, and Candy Panda using his quick draw to actually avoid the Zephyr Blade there of N-Rated. Zenith Blade, sorry, not Zephyr Blade.
Yeah, and blue buff now.
That would be the Janna.
Given across to Ocelot, so that's immediate. This is a full role reversal here. The Drayan just pulls that one out. So this is exactly like we saw again in the first game against Authority. Oh, Candy Panda again using the quick draw. Did get stunned this time out though, but they can see the damage turning straight towards N-Rated. And actually Yellowstar's going to eat a few shots in the backside there. N-Rated quickly using his advantage to get that ward down. Just seeing a little invade again from the Drayan here now this time. Oh, and he's got to be careful. He's spotted. He used his ulti, went straight across towards Moa there. Cassiopeia, I think, actually, did he use his ulti there? No, he didn't have it available, so had to back away. But yeah, using his ulti to escape that one, he realised an Udyr coming up and clearing out the damage. So let's have a look at towards the top lane. You can see Renekton trying to build up towards that Brutalizer now. Has got that pink ward. He's obviously going to place it straight on top of the other pink ward, I reckon, and clear that one out. Which so he has no defense at the moment. Kennen, well, he has got that one kill early on, trying to get towards that Hextech Revolver. 1-0 up there, got that double amplifying tome, so both top laners trying the best to get up there, but they are very even in CS at the moment. And Moma and Ocelot, well, we can see they already went for that kill, didn't quite work out from double Doran's rings between the two of them. And 54 CS to 64 CS, so slight advantage for Ocelot. Candy Panda down the bottom, though, again, is behind in CS to Yellowstar.
Yeah, once again. But we've seen that change as well. So, very interesting stuff going on this one. Very tight game. I mean, we've got, what, 700 gold difference with the first blood coming in there as well. So, overall, just a really, I guess you could say, because it's that third and final game, neither team wants to do anything stupid and take too many risks. The counter jungler that we've seen from both Shyvana and Udyr, though, has shown that they are willing to take that little extra step. Also, the fact that Momo hung around in that fight in middle early on when he felt like he could actually take down Cassiopeia, he had the help coming in from the side. Ocelot actually deciding, okay, I need the Wraiths, I need the Wolves, I really need to get farming here as quickly as possible. Actually, ping goes down, and Kevin is on his turret, but will Soaz go back? Yeah, the ping went down there, and Dedrian isn't going to find anything from that one. There was that ward in the top side of the river, so Soaz won't have any trouble with that whatsoever.
Yeah, back in straight away, and they know Linux there as well. They've got a ward for the left-hand side. Ocelot, he's just worn out, but he's well aware of it, and you can see he's not even pushing forward. Quite happy to let that lane push forward itself. Shyvana just having to back away. He's going to go get golems. Linak kind of in no man's land at the moment. I think he's going to come across and try and steal the wraiths away. Cassiopeia needs to be alert to that. He has no vision of it, and I think Linak might be able to steal away some wraiths here. Yeah, goes straight in, smites the big one, backs away. Is he going to clear the camp? Oh, he might do. They might not have a choice. Phoenix Stars might do it for him. Leona's going to walk in as well. Pink goes down. Ocelot spotted him with his ward, but again, we've moved into a passive phase, and I actually expect this one to be a fairly passive game, mainly for the fact there's so much on the line. You know, you could be going out of a $100,000 tournament. The semi-finals await for whoever picks up this game. It is a very tense one. Quick draw coming out from Candy Panda. Howling Gale just actually missing on towards Yellowstar. Does manage to catch him with an ulti, but it's not going to be enough, and Yellowstar will back away. He's going to have to go buy. See what sort of gold he's got on him. He has got 1,500. Sorry, I'm looking at. In fact, Ocelot's got 1,500 on him. Ocelot's getting dived on by Momo. Will he manage to plant the ulti? Linak's possibly going to dive towards the turret. Not going to be enough. Slow goes down as well. Linak backs away from that one. And, well, I think I just caught a glimpse of Kevin, yeah, getting low as well. So, across the map at the moment, you can see they're pushing on. Let's have a look towards the bottom. And so as well, he's pushing on towards that top turret. At the moment, Renekton's in a little bit of trouble in his top lane, as you would expect. So Sawaz winning down that top lane. Yellow Star effectively winning in the bottom lane, but he's pretty even in CS at the moment.
Yeah, and we've seen how effectively winning it can actually change when Candy Panda's involved in that bottom lane as well. Yellow Star coming back in. What's he picked himself up? So Sheen complete now for Yellow Star, double Doran's Blade. Graves coming back down as well. He's triple Doran's Blade plus a cloth armor, and those Berserker's Greaves are done. Still level 1 boots for Yellow Star. So he is that little bit behind in terms of his item. It's only 7 CS difference actually, but the top is also only 4, but the kill is in there, and already that Will of the Ancients is complete for Kennen.
Yeah. So
that's a big thing, and Renekton, I feel, going to have a bit of trouble in there. They've struggled to get Udyr in there to have those real gags recently on Renekton. Obviously he can move away pretty quickly, got good mobility, but Kennen has as well. Lots of mobility actually across the map in this game.
Yeah, indeed, and that's a horrible thing to have early on, that Will of the Ancients, to go with Fizz. Just keep an eye down the bottom and the top, and you can see that purple ward actually was placed by Kevin. Linak has actually invaded a little bit here. Linak with the Oracle as well. He's been very aggressive. You can see Kennen's now forcing the fight on towards Kevin. He has popped his ulti, but he's managed to flash out of it. I don't think Linak's going to dive this one. Has to be very careful, especially with that Oracle used. Doesn't want to have to lose that one out. Blue buff now will be given across to Ocelot as well. Down the bottom, they continue to farm very passively down the bottom here. They're not really causing the aggression, but Candy Panda has been far more in this game than he has been the last few. You can see we're gone for triple Dorans this time against Yellow Star's Sheen that he'd already built up, and he is actually catching up on CS as well. He's regaining that lead that he had. Kevin doing a great job of escaping Sawaz's damage, but he is pushed against that tower once again. We are seeing movement over here for Dragon.
Yeah, Dedrian coming in. He is currently level 8. Candy Panda there. Ocelot comes down. Nif is around as well. There is no vision, actually. There was one in the back of that Dragon pit, but I'm not sure that they can really offer too much. N-Rated is in the pack, and he is actually going to get right in the middle of them. Dedrian is surely going to go down. Well, the Fizz ulti was around about half a mile away from that entire SK team, and they will stay alive for this one. Dragon is still there. And again, this game is looking very similar. We saw a little bit of edgy play around Blue. There's another little bit of play around Dragon. It's panning out into a similar kind of thing, except we're 15 minutes in almost, and it's 1-0, and it's hard to tell actually who's going to be coming out on top on this one.
Yeah, and while all that was happening, you saw Renekton Cash Engine diving on Candy Panda, actually being caught out badly as well. Actually going very aggressive. Can Corki finish him off? The ulti does land. The heal comes out as well, though, from Yellow Star. Meanwhile, he lands a Zephyr, tries to back him away. He's trying to hold out enough, trying to bait him in there, and you can see Cassiope was making his way down there, but Ocelot didn't manage to get down in time to pick up any kills. Candy Panda hanging on still, and he's not gone back. He wants to just use the lifesteal of his Doran's Blade to keep in there. What I was going to say is Renekton actually caught on towards Kennen, at the top there, had used his ulti and actually nearly took Sawaz out while that big fight was happening. So happening across the map here, still only 1-0 though, still only 1k gold difference. So you can see that Against Authority are managing to farm it quite well, along with that single kill they've got. We have got Dedrayan actually with an Oracle's clearing out the river now, and you can see Sawaz actually immediately warding up.
Kevin, as he went for the null magic mantle. Also, longsword, that brutalizer, as he said from earlier, still only the tier 1 boots as to yet. Kennen got the same, but he went for that health with Giant's belts just to stay a little bit safer. Moma feeling he needs to have those wraiths away as well. And CS in the middle is currently 123 to 116, so remaining very close. Bottom 132 to 116. In fact, that's almost identical differences amongst the pack, those two teams. And really 1.1k gold we saw in that second game. Actually, after 40 minutes the gold was bang on even. Here we see finally the Man-Bear Pig coming in towards top. Does have an Oracle, but one thing that they've not counted on here is the fact that Dedrian was up in that top brush, so as not going to be baited out into it, but they will be able to clear out this ward at least, and Dedrian can go back on his way. Linux, I think, fancying a little bit of a steal here, or hoping to catch him out at some point in that jungle. but both teams still very, very edgy play.
Yeah, very edgy. There was about 3 ganks on across the map there. You can see the bottom lane was starting to push Corky. Yellow Star's been damaged a little bit. You can see that bottom tower taking that to half. We also had Leona sat ready and waiting to try and jump on Ocelot. Linak was not sure which way he wanted to go. We've got Shyvana peeking around at the top lane, and they've all managed to back away now. Will Renekton go for anything here? You'll see Dedrain coming down. They're just clearing wards, and both junglers with that Oracle are having a very good job at clearing things out. Ping went down actually on Linak, so he doesn't want to pull that. You can see he was looking for wards actually, saying SK have not got anything really around it. You can see that target is on his head still, so they're well aware of his position. Now they've just seen Shyvana. Shyvana's had to back away from this one, has got the burnout, just going to walk away from that one, no problem at all. Meanwhile down the bottom you can see the double AD, the AD in support having a little poke back and forward, waiting for Shyvana to get around and clear this Oracle out. Against All Authority want this. Kennedy is now moving in, has gone back and bought, got that Willie the Ancients, and nearly actually built up to O'Reilly's, only single pair of boots. Kevin now coming down as well with that Brutalizer. This is going to be the first big team engaged, Joe.
Certainly looks that way. Kevin moving in there. Moment so is actually waiting here. Maybe they're going to try and jump in and take down, or have a go at taking down Ocelot. We're going to find out here in just a second. The other 3 from aAa are all in the bottom river area. Linak just checking once again with that Oracle. Very calculated Oracle play actually from both teams. Dedrian is going to clear out a ward in this brush on the side, and actually Linak, yeah, he puts it, I was going to say, doesn't want to get caught out, put the stun on Kevin just so he remains safe. There's pings going left, right and centre actually from SK Gaming at this point, and both teams are so wary of actually making the engagement. Nif needs to be careful that he doesn't get caught out, and we are going to see that sailing blade landing. Nif going low and actually will get himself away from that one against All Authority. Have they done enough to stop SK pushing in though for this Dragon? Moment needs to be careful that he doesn't get left out if a fight actually kicks off here. And AAA have been split up. Linak and N-Rated at the bottom side, Yellow Star and Momo at the top. We've also got Soaz, who's just farming the bottom lane, as you do when your team's gearing up for that Dragon fight. Will finally work his way in there. Ocelot also just trying to make his presence felt, forcing aAa to back off. Dragon still stands there. He's probably wondering why he's still alive when there's so much action going off around him. And is Kevin actually going to go home here? I feel this could be a bit of a mistake from Kevin.
Yeah, he has gone home. He was kind of visible as well when he went home. Fizz is continuing to push the middle though.
And surely Fizz will come down now that Kevin's left. Actually, with Candy Pandas down in this bottom lane, Yellow Star is going to come up. And look at this, Dave. SK have almost given away this Dragon. It's going to be on half HP at least before they can get anything done. And against All Authority decide, not going to be worth it. By this time, Kevin is now back in. Dragon is pulled out, will be reset for 300 HP. Well, they are going to look to try and finish things off, and Dragon will go over to against All Authority. Doesn't look like a fight's going to kick off. Actually, it will. Kevin's going to start to work in. Flash used by Lina. Look at this. Ocelot is in behind. Use his ultimate on Soaz, but Ocelot is going to go very down. That's not good news. And N-Rated will actually flash away from it as well. Candy Panda out of mana, and the first kill in that little engagement onto Ocelot. It was a very aggressive move. I understand almost why he did it, because he expected they were, as a team, going to run through that tri-bush, and he wanted to get behind them and say, there you go, you're all under my ulti now, and that would have been a different story if that had actually happened. Yeah, it would have been brilliant if the rest of the team were backing away, but they all turned around and engaged. They're like, oh, we're going to fight as well. So, aggressive flash can be a bad thing, and it just didn't work out this time. The ulti did land on one. Could have been brilliant if it had caught all 3 of them. It would have been simply a turning point, and they would have been in the driving seat. As it is, they lost the Dragon. They're 2-0 down, and it's suddenly against All Authorities in position again, and Yellow Star continuing to hammer away on that bottom lane. 180 CS now to 160, so he has already pulled a 20 CS lead. While that little debate was going on, they just weren't quite sure whether to fight. Kevin went in, kind of caught the wrong person, went for out to Udyr actually, they caught out, which is probably just the last person in that team fight you wanted to catch out here. Kevin's got to be careful here. He's got Fizz and Soaz there sneaking in. Yeah, you can see Soaz trying to put a questionable shuriken across, trying to catch him out.
Soaz wants to get in this one. I'm not too sure whether Kevin realises that Momo went in there. If he doesn't, he might do now, because I don't think they can hear us on stage. They can't really. I mean, I've been up there and I can't even hear myself when I'm up there, so it's pretty bad for them. So yeah, they don't give too much away for them. So Kevin, though, is going to come in. Fizz actually chopped the waters going early and catching him beautifully. That's definitely going to be a kill. Who will pick it up? That's the question. Momo's going to play playful trickster and say, thanks, I'll take that one. Meanwhile, down the bottom, you can see Nif just into Monsoon, just about escaped that one. Yellow Star, has he got a Valkyrie? Is he going to dive for it? Not too sure whether he wants to use it. You can see he's trying to bide his time to get the ulti straight diagonally across. Instead, he's had to back away from that one. Shyvana having to defend up the top there, but it is 3-0, and that was a very well executed kill at the top.
And really, really patiently played as well by Momo, waiting that brush for a good 30 seconds. As we can see down at the bottom, continued pressure from Yellow Star onto Candy Panda, and actually it was the shield that really kept Janna alive during that last one. And Nif, he's coming back into lane with having not regenerated his full health or his full mana, but he's going to come in there anyway just to try and keep that tower protected. Although it's only Yellow Star there, he's not got much mana, but look at the damage already that Yellow Star's putting out. He's got BF Sword finishing there, decided to go for that rather than, headed up to that Phage. Meanwhile, up at top, Soaz has finished off that turret, and once again, you're going to say, winning that lane out.
Yeah.
Oh.
And the bottom lane has been won out. Kevin actually diving on towards Soaz there, but you can see Dedrayan was a little bit too far away to actually get involved in that. Had already used his ulti to escape Soaz, and Kevin just forcing him away down the bottom.
Is going to get totally destroyed as well. That was a gank coming in from Udyr. Got the stun off, and actually Janna flashed away from a friend. He was on pretty much full health as well there, Janna. So he's like, sorry, Candy Panda.
You're dead.
You're dead, and I'm the support, but I'm alive. Yeah. That's how it's going to go down. We're looking like Momo could do a significant amount of damage, if not actually take it down on this middle turret. I should imagine he will by the time Dedrayan gets in here. Chose, interesting actually, chose not to use Burnout and get there a little bit quicker and maybe hold the turret, for that one last time. Decides just to let it go. Ocelot headed. Is he going to go up north? No, just wants a little bit of farm, stealing away from Dedrayan. And up at top, Soaz may have a little bit of trouble. We have Nif moving in there. Kevin just gets stunned, and Soaz is just going to get himself away. No real problems. But 4-0 it is to Against All Authority. No one making the mistake just yet of being caught out too much by them, and of course has not died. Meanwhile, Wit's End is now finished on Udyr, so as well as being that tanky beast that he is, he's also going to start to do a scary amount of damage.
Yeah, and the thing for Against Authority, I'm just going to look towards the top there. They're diving on towards Kevin. You can see Yellowstar and Soaz have managed to stun him. Just about dashes away. Will he finish him off? He will. Yellowstar picking up the kill there with an ulti. Very nicely played. The rest of SK are closing in around him, but they're going to back away in plenty of time. Kennen and Gorky probably the most manoeuvrable they could be. Wow, did you see the damage that one single Shuriken just did on Nif? Incredible stuff. So he's immediately going to back away from that one. But as I was about to mention, Willie the Ancient stack is going to work so well. You can see the flash from Nif having to be used there. Meanwhile, they're diving towards Ocelot. Ocelot having to use the flash. Chum the Waters coming across. Meanwhile, Dedrayan having to use his kit, force them away there. I think it was Candy Panda that blew them all backwards. Monsoon from Nif as well. But wow, SK are actually starting to be in a little bit of trouble here and fearful for their lives, because every time they go somewhere, they get caught out. Meanwhile, Linek is just hammering away on this middle turret, turns around, goes towards Candy Panda, puts a quick stun in his face and goes, okay, 3v1's a little bit too much and we'll go back. But they are looking very, very strong. Like I said, 5-0 up. 1-0-3 Kennen is going to be strong, but with Fizz alongside him, who's nearly got that Rabadon's death cap already, and the Sheen, that Chum the Waters is going to be painful.
Yeah, and the worst thing there for SK is they came in to defend, and they ended up using all their ultis to actually escape and not go down, which is something that kind of shows where the game's at right now, when you having to use your ultimate so defensively after one of your teammates gets caught out of there. Kennen, as you said, Will the Ancient's done, Rylez is done, blasting wand in there, up at currently 300 AP there or thereabouts, and actually got more than Fizz at the moment, but needlessly large rod, Sheen, and the blasting wand is finished. Meanwhile, Dragon has respawned, and again, Against All Authorities coming in from two different sides. It's Corky and Leona down on the bottom, Fizz and Kennen up in the middle lane. Soaz not too worried about it, actually. He's just farming completely. He's up to 206 CS right now, so almost the most fed in the game. He's only Corky at 223. Graves, again, a little bit behind with Candy Panda, which we can always expect he will manage to get back at some point. That ward going to be weeded out by Dedrian as well in that brush, so no real vision for Against All Authority. They've dropped that bottom turret though, and will that mean now that they're going to fight for Dragon? I'm not sure. SK, they seem to be a little bit split. You know, they were drawn to middle, they didn't get anything there. We're seeing now that Dragon's been done after once again they were pulled to middle, and that's just, you know, a tug of war. The aAa basically played alone, and SK were just pulled in every which direction except anything that helped them in any way. They lost the turret, middle was all farmed out, then they lost Dragon, and they didn't get anything for their pleasure.
Yeah, this is looking very much like the SK the first game, where the timings are off at the moment. They didn't seem to have control. Remember, they invaded the blue early on, managed to steal that. They didn't follow that up though.
Yeah.
They didn't go for the second time. They knew when it was going to spawn, but they didn't get in there.
Well, they left the lizard right.
Yeah.
In that game, and that was the problem for him, I think.
Yeah. So Soaz clears out that wave. Soaz now looking very strong. You can see Ryder's been completed, along with that Will in the Ancients he's had long ago. Will in the Ancients has been completed by Cassiopeia, though. Cassiopeia, 200 CS, 203 CS for Fizz, has got that Rabadon's Death Cap complete. You can see that Trinity Force just popping up there. So Trinity Force and Bloodthirster now for Corky. Cookie looking very strong. So Yellow Star, man on a mission in this game after having a very aggressive face in the last game. They will manage to pick up the kill there on the tower. Will Linak go down? He has been caught out, but they're not going to follow it up there. They do not feel it is the right time, especially to rush into a bush like that. They could have Kennen coming down. Will he manage to catch anyone out? It's the Drain they want. He has got that Oracle on. He's just trying to farm up and back away. But Against All Authority are feeling very strong here. You can see they are a 9k up in gold. That is a big, 8k up, I can't count, in a big advantage. But 3-2 in towers. SK are not out of this one yet. They still have a big team fight in them. If that Cassiopeia ulti can be landed at the right time, if Renekton can get in at the right time, if the Drain and Shyvana can get in at the right time, it will turn things. But as it is at the moment, this combo here, Soaz and Moma, has been so strong throughout this. You can see 103. There's only been 5 kills throughout this game. He's been in the right place at the right time. Soaz doing a fantastic job. Linak as well has been causing problems for them. He's been clearing out those wards very well, and now there's going to be a fight for the blue buff, Joe.
Yeah, and as you said, all the right people have got kills on aAa, and all the wrong people are dead actually on the other side for SK. It's only the support and the jungler that have not actually gone down. All the rest, Renekton 3 times not gone good. Here we go then. Actually, Linak in the mix of things, and Kevin's going to dive straight in there. Immediately do nuke down to minus at least half HP. There goes the ultimate from Moma as well. Candy Panda going very low, uses a flash to get away. Linak not finished just yet. There goes the ulti across, but here is Kennen, and this is going to go all kinds of bad for SK now, as Dedrian uses his ultimate to get away from the fight again. It was a double for Corky in there, and guess what? Not a single kill for SK Gaming again.
Yeah, that was not good, and they had the blue stolen away to start with, so they should have just backed straight away. But very good initiation from N-Rated once again on Leona, just catching them out perfectly. And you know, they're in an enclosed position. It couldn't have got easier for them. So especially for Chum the Waters, it's like you're in a perfect spot. Chum the Waters covers that whole area you're stood in. I think I'm going to use that. And Soaz obviously flash ulting across. Soaz is very aggressive in this one. 105. Shirelia's Reverie been completed now on Leona. Leona just playing a magnificent game. You can't give these supports enough support, especially when it's Leona as well. You know, it's an unusual support player from Against All Authorities. I'm not too sure whether SK were kind of expecting it, really. Obviously, it's worked very well for them. We've seen it, especially from a picture of a goose, I believe, is the one I'm thinking of, which I know now as MTWN8. But as it is, Against All Authorities are looking strong. 8-0. We have seen turnarounds from this far ahead, but not very often. Dignitas will be well aware of that, because it happened to them against Fnatic. We saw Moscow 5 turning down a 9-0 deficit against Curse Gaming. But as it stands at the moment, it's going to have to be another great Baron steal, I feel, for SK here.
Yeah, that Baron steal is going to have to come into play for sure. They have to make sure that aAa don't get it for free, and then aren't able to do too much damage with it. As we look now, it seems like they're almost ready. A couple of pings going down, which to me indicate ward positions maybe that they want to have down and ready before they start off this Baron. Linak has made sure that that Baron pit is actually cleared out of wards. Against all authority. Well, they decide, no, now's not the time. Let's go back towards the middle area and maybe push that lane. Oh, actually, Chum Waters is going to come out there. Ocelot uses his ulti, but is it going to be enough to escape? Kennen was in. Nice monsoon from Janna. Didn't save Ocelot, though. And Janna is barely going to escape this one. I think, yep, Yellow Star leaves it alone and decides, well, let's take the turret down. Let's take this inhibitor. And then I guess they're going to back away and go in for that Baron pickup. That makes the most sense from this point right now. With Cassiopeia out, there's not a lot I think that SK can really do. Is 28 seconds till he comes up. Dedrian already starting to work his way in. There is Soaz, actually misses the first shuriken, but he's just going to hold the ground basically, and now they're going to push top. So going for the turrets rather than going for that Baron, which I think they could have had there, to be quite honest, almost for free.
They have to be very careful, because obviously they've still got the drain in there. They could obviously get in and get their smite on, and as it stands though, you know, they were right to back away from that one, I think. So, you know, it was a good call from against our authorities. They're taking that inner turret. Now they're in a position where they could back off and maybe try and bait them in. You can see Cassiopeia has backed respawned. I think they're all going to go back to base. Yeah, wisely so. They're all sitting on a fairly stack of gold. 1,000 gold across the board. You can see, there you go. Last Whisper completed, Lichbane completed, Randian's Omen going in there, Kindle Gem as well. Lots of wards there as well being popped off. And, well, tell you what, Ocelot's going to be feeling a little bit sheepish after getting caught there.
Yeah, and it almost worked out for him as well when he got that ultimate across, except the guys behind just managed to power on through anyway and get those kills in. Super Minions obviously streaming down the middle again. There's Candy Panda, which is one of these things that we've pointed out time and time again. If you let him farm, he will farm, and he will farm more than you really needed to. He's currently 30 CS behind Corki, obviously way behind in kills as well, and he could get himself caught out, which is something that Candy Panda struggle with. Actually uses quick draw. Yellow Star says, well, that's not going to help you very much, because guess what, I'm going to Valkyrie straight over the top. And again, Candy Panda gets caught out, and that's something that we've in my opinion seen a little bit too much in this best of 3 from Candy Panda.
We saw him on Cogma. He got caught out 3 or 4 times, and yet against the authorities have been quick to pounce on him. Meanwhile, you can see the purple turret has gone down. Momo's now in all sorts of trouble. He's going to get caught out though by SK, so finally picking up a kill on that trickster, as it were. But you can see the rest of against our authorities are starting to move around. They are going to get straight towards Kevin. Ulti popped straight away. Kevin being stunned up. He's not going to be able to get away from this one. He's trying his best. You can see Leona, and a fail flash indeed was there. Now Ocelot's in trouble. He's trying to back away. You can see that against our authorities, this is like a damaged ganking team just piling on through the rest of SK, and they do manage to take him down. The turret will follow surely. There's not a lot that Shyvana and Nif can do about this one, and they're just going to hammer away at that. Yellow Star has played magnificently again, 7-0-3, but as Soaz has just been initiating everything on Kennen, and you know what? He's played brilliantly throughout these 3 matches, and it's looking like against our authorities are in a strong position now. 13-1, massive gold difference. I can't even count it, it's that big, and I can't go past 10. But SK, yeah, they just, I don't know what they're going to have to do. They're going to have to turtle it up and just hope that they inhibitor spawns, and just pray that against our authorities don't choose to go for Baron.
Yeah, but they surely will do at this stage. I mean, top inhibitor down, middle inhibitor down. It only takes basically 1 or 2 kills now, and they're going to push straight on through, and there's not going to be a lot that SK can actually do about it. Yellow Star is getting himself home. There's actually no vision whatsoever around Baron, as I say that. Dedrian does put a ward down in the back of the pit, which you'd imagine will be cleared out straight away, because guess what? Linak's not died yet, and he's had that Oracle on for, well, since about 5 minutes into the game, I think. So really proving its worth in this one. They're going to clear out this jungle. Actually, there's a stack going on bottom. It looks like against Authority, you're going to go for you know, the tutorial way to finish off this game, which is make sure you get all the turrets down, all the inhibitors, and then start to push in there as well. They've decided to go for it without going down for that Baron pickup. They've got a decent stream of minions coming in here, and look at Dedrian going so very low right away, and Chum Waters is going to come in, and Ocelot surely going to be picked off. He uses his ultimate, which gets Linak in. Ulti used by Janna as well, and well, that's just going to give the turret over. Momo dives in as well. Yellow Star just trying to put that damage out to keep them away from this inhibitor. and that will be gifted over to Against All Authority. So SK really not got much to work with right now. For me, Soaz been so strong on Kennen. Actually got his Zonya's Hourglass built up now, so even if they wanted to kill him, they probably can't. And they're going to back away. And this is, without doubt, the Baron pickup for Against All Authority. And SK can't do anything because, guess what, there's minions all over their base anyway.
Yeah, they're having to fend off them super minions from the middle, and now the sides are already being pushed. And that will be a free Baron for Against All Authorities. But there's nothing SK can do about it. And now, you know, Against All Authority, they're going to have to throw this hard. They're literally going to have to walk off stage and let someone in the audience play. And even then, I don't think they could lose this game because it is a very, very one-sided match. So Dignitas are going to be looking at this and thinking, well, you know what, we absolutely spanked these in the group stage, but they can't take that for granted because Against All Authorities will have learned. They said themselves, we weren't quite sure what to do against the American teams. That may play in Dignitas' favour, but they're going to be watching this one very, very closely. You said yourself, they've been practicing today as well. Obviously, CLG versus Moscow 5 is the other semi-finals as well. If anyone missed that one, it is going to be two fantastic games. Obviously, best of threes again. Against All Authority, are they going to drive this one home, Joe? I think they will.
Yeah, I think they will as well. With that Baron buff on, they've obviously gone for a bunch of elixirs left, right and centre, and they're just going to look for a decent engagement. Candy Panda already knocked down to around about half HP. And the ultis are up across the board for Against All Authority, so it's just going to take Kennen to actually dive in there and cause all kinds of problems. Candy Panda, is he going to go down? And it was actually Leona who got in there. Ocelot starting to fall. Ultimate pulled off by Dedrian, but I'm not sure that's going to really offer anything in terms of a saviour for SK Gaming. These two turrets going to be hammered away. Actually, there's 3 or 4, 5, 6 super minions, can't even count them, there's that many. This Nexus is going to go down, and Against All Authority are going to win this great best of 3 and go through into the semi-final.
Yeah, and what a fantastic game it was, really. Best of 3, we went all the way through those 3 matches. SK, well, you know what, they're going to feel a little bit down on this one. It is the quarter-final stage for them again, I'm afraid, but Against All Authorities, you know what, they look like men on mission. They didn't lose the lane phases in all 3 games. They were looking very strong, and that's the big difference between them and SK. SK had to come back every time, had to fight the way back. They had to hope that Against All Authority made a mistake. I was a little concerned. I mean, they got that blue buff early, and like you said, they didn't take the small lizard. If they'd just finished it off, they'd have had the timings, and suddenly everything was out of cock, and they just couldn't manage to get themselves into it. I just don't know, there was something lacking. Yellow Star now looking happier again. Yeah, a little bit more happier. Big smile on N-Rated's face. Soaz still looks concerned. I'm not sure what. Maybe he realises he's got Dignitas in the semi-final. And Linek obviously sending text messages home to his parents and saying, you know what, we made it, guys. We're in the semi-finals.
We're in the top 4. And, you know, that match was actually worth a cool $1.3 thousand. But tomorrow the difference between 3.8 thousand and 8,000 when you start to move up to you know,
a lot of money starting coming into it.
Third place possible position.
Moment number one.
And I saw him, as I mentioned, playing Fizz before, and again he played a great Fizz. He got caught out once in that game, so hopefully the rest of it Against All Authority did report Momo for feeding during this quarter-final. But you know, first game Against All Authority, dominant. Third game, dominant. Second game started very, very well.
9-0-3.
Yeah, 9-0-3 on Yellow Star. It was like I carried the second game, the first game, the second game, and the third game even harder because I was really annoyed. But was it a case that second game of Against All Authority taking their foot off the pedal and letting SK back into it?
Yeah, it was that single steal. There's steal on Baron that just turned the game. We knew it was the turning point, but I believe the players are ready. I think it's going to be Rivington or Zenon on stage. We're going to hear what they have to say about it.
And here we are now on the main stage with Ocelot from SK Gaming and MoMA from Team Against All Authority. Ocelot, I think we're just going to start with you. I know this is probably not the thing you want to hear right now, but can you just summarize in a couple of words to us how this BO3 went?
First 2 games were actually pretty even, and we actually played pretty good. But the third game, for some reason, no one of us played even close to the level that is needed to play at this, in these tournaments. So we deserve to lose. Everybody of us deserve to lose this matchup. It's fine, they played better.
They played better. That's a very fair thing to say. Thank you for that. MoMA, I just have to ask you right away, you guys pretty much from our perspective, you kind of had it in the second game, and then you went for Baron and kind of lost, and then you went for Baron and kind of lost. So I just have to ask you right now, but between yesterday and today, have you guys been taking lessons from Dignitas?
Looks like not. Like all my team wanted to do the Nesha, but I was staying at top lane and was saying, no, no, don't go Nesha, just play it safe and take it slowly. But then I joined them and we forced the Nesha. And then like everybody was going over the wall to Cassiopeia from Ocelot. They didn't even kill her, and I was standing alone at Nesha, and Udi was behind me. We got totally owned there. They got the Nesha. And like we lost the game there by our own. We lost 2 times at Nesha. That's so stupid, man.
Well, Ocelot, describe that moment to us from your perspective in the second game when Candy Panda went and stole that Nesha. I think some of you guys actually stood up, or at least saw some hands going up. What was the mood like at that moment?
Well, that is esports, how we feel esports, especially me. And when that happens, the game is lost already, 100%, and suddenly we come back like that. Is like it's so special. I cannot tell you with words how you feel in that moment. You know.
What were you saying on team chat?
On team chat?
Yeah, on voice chat.
Okay. I was like, I'm always motivating them. Like even if it's 0-20, I'm always like, come on, guys, we can still win, and you know. Like yelling and stuff like that. That is how I do in offline events. And I would like to say something, like even though we lost this matchup, it's best of 3, I think we did a great tournament so far, knowing all the handicaps we had lately. People that left, people that joined, getting people from solo queue, you know, how hard is it? Coming here with only 2 weeks training, I think I'm so proud of my team, every single one of my team members, as they are proud of me. And I want to say something, which is thank you very much to all of you guys that came here to watch us all, supported us from the first game to the last game. And honestly, I'm speechless. I cannot tell you with words how I feel towards you guys.
Nice. Thank you for that. Now, Moma, you guys, generally people say that AAA are an online team. Like you perform super strongly online. For instance, I think you're like 5 PO3s against Moscow 5 at the moment that you won online recently, something crazy like that anyway. But people always say that AAA lose their nerves when it really matters in offline events. That doesn't seem to have happened so far. How is the mood in the team right now? And do you have somebody like Ocelot? Do you have like this central motivator who's always on team chat going like, come on guys, we can do this? Or just describe to us the mood in the team at the moment.
Like, I think we are offline the same strong like online. We are not nervous or something, but our playstyle is like we need to win our lane phase, our early game. If we lose this, it's really hard for us to come back. Like, we lost our early game against CLG, against Dignitas, and they stormed us. Like, we can't come back to the game at the moment. Like, we need to win our early game, and then we can win the game. So if it's going bad for us, like always Linak is trying to say, come down guys, come down guys. Like, some people are getting loud and nervous, but like we are trying to get focused, but it's really hard at the moment if we lose.
Okay, so just one very quick last question to you then. Like you said, you guys did actually show a very, very nice performance here, considering this was the Drion's first offline event, I think, and you guys showed very good performance. Just give us very, very quickly what's in store for SK Gaming for the future.
League of Legends just started. There's a long way, years and years and years, and I can promise you all that SK Gaming finished up 5th, 6th in this tournament, but I can promise you something. In the several following tournaments, we will rock.
You're going to rock, okay. We're looking forward to that. And one last question for you as well then, Moma. You guys just won the quarterfinals. That means you're moving on to the semifinals tomorrow against Team Dignitas, who are looking, I think, really big in this tournament at the moment. Just generally, what are your thoughts? How do you feel? How confident do you feel? And is there anything like you guys haven't played against Dignitas that much? I think is this something where you go in saying like we don't know anything about these guys, or do you feel you've watched enough games that you know what to expect?
I think we didn't know much about them until the group stage. Like we saw a lot of games from them, and we played against them and got stomped literally. But I think now we know what are their strongest picks, and we actually know very good what we want to pick tomorrow and what we want to ban. So I think we will be better prepared tomorrow than in the group stage. So I think we will win 2-1.
And do you have any last words for your fans, maybe at home?
Yeah, thanks for watching me, guys. I love you so much. Special greet to the French community.
Hey, you heard it. Thanks very much, you guys. Let's have a last handshake here. Nice. That was a great best of 3 series to watch. And to everybody watching at home, that were the quarterfinals for us. We are going to go into the semifinals tomorrow with, I don't actually know the order yet, but it's definitely going to be a Dignitas versus aAa and CLG versus Moscow 5. And CLG have been waiting to fight Moscow 5 forever. These guys can't wait. To anybody who is here right now, after the raffle, we are going to have the Intel Friday night game that I'm actually going to cast in German. So if you happen to speak German, stick around for that. Otherwise, we'll see you guys tomorrow for the semifinals, and it's going to be even more amazing than this. Thanks, everyone.
What an intense quarterfinals, and there you have it, the first day of playoffs at the Intel Extreme Masters World Championship in Hanover, Germany, and CLG and AAA will be advancing to the semifinals tomorrow. And D-Man, let's get a recap of today's events.
Yeah, there's been some pretty incredible games today. Obviously, the first thing we had today was CLG versus Team Curse. It was the All-American affair, and I've got to be honest, I thought it was a bit of a farming session. It was pretty boring. I'm not going to lie, because the first game, well, CLG sort of farmed the way to victory. It's something we've seen pretty commonly from them, and they are going to really have to switch it up here when they get to the semi-finals. But of course, Team Curse, they came into this one, they had Sidko finally turn up. He was missing for the first day. It was fantastic for them in the first day. They had this German stand-in that just played brilliantly. Sidko came in. I kind of felt still a little sorry for him because the only 2 games he's played, he lost, which has not been the greatest. We can see the road to the finals as well that these guys are going to have to pass. And it's obviously joining them alongside. We've just finished the SK Gaming versus aAa. It was a 3-match epic. SK Gaming were kind of behind in all 3 matches. They managed to bring it back brilliantly in the second game. As you can see, they're going to be facing off against Dignitas. That will be the first match of the day tomorrow, so that will be a very close one. Dignitas already beaten against All Authority in the group stages. And then obviously Moscow 5 versus Counterlogic Gaming. That's the big one everyone really wants to see, because, you know, Counterlogic Gaming were in Korea during IEM Kiev. They were saying, you know what, we could beat them. Moscow 5, meanwhile, have gone 5-0 and have looked unstoppable again. But CLG are really going to have to raise their game. They're going to have to change their style, because Moscow 5 are a team that are in your face throughout the entire game. We saw level 2 ganks from them against IEM, which was, it was a little embarrassing, but it didn't quite work, actually, thank God. But they have looked incredible throughout this. You know, they've just continued on their dominance from Kiev. So we're going to have some fantastic matches tomorrow.
All right, thank you, Demon. And now we're going to take a 90-minute break and stream StarCraft on the main stage stream. And also be sure to check out Counter-Strike as they are in their playoffs as well. In the meantime, check out ESL TV's brand new website at beta.esl.tv. And at 3:30 p.m. CET, we will have the Intel Friday night game on the main streams for StarCraft as well as League of Legends. And we will see you guys tomorrow in the semifinals.
And he goes jumping in. Amazing round. Great hat trick from Taz.
He flashes in and casts the ultimate. Lina, 20 health left. Oh no, she will flash. The shield
so
flash.
Oh, a blink into all those units. An amazing defense. Champion of